Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the big show, the one we have all been waiting for, the CS NSE Spring Championships LAN Finals, where tonight I, Wolfie6678, have the pleasure of bringing to you De Montfort University up against the University of East Anglia. Now, to start the spiel off, UEA have come through the top bracket in some style, winning the overwhelming majority of their games. It's a very different story down in the De Montfort lower bracket, almost knocked out multiple times. I think one occasion it went down to a 2-round difference, and that was all that kept them in the game, but they've gone on consistently losing and winning one after the other until they eventually ended up here at the LAN Finals. Both teams playing a little bit lackluster in terms of their firepower. I know for a fact UEA are missing one of their roster. He's off in Rome at the minute, so they're playing with one stand-in. De Montfort otherwise have a full lineup coming into this one. In terms of the pick bans, you can see a little bit of tech support going on there. De Montfort had the first pick. They've gone through with Mirage as expected. Standardly a very puggy team. They don't like to play the execute maps. They like to play those maps where you can out-aim your opponent and win it off pure skill. I'm sure we've all seen as CS fans some of the nutty things Simple has been pulling off on Mirage recently, and that's exactly what De Montfort will be looking to emulate. Straight after that, we've got East Anglia picking up Inferno again. They're the almost polar opposite of De Montfort. They almost play their game in a very big style. They like to use those executes. They like to get the nades out as soon as possible and really just shut off the options for the enemy team. And that's going to create a really interesting sort of environment between the two teams, because they play completely different styles of CS, and it's going to be awesome to see how those two things sort of merge together. And then as a final map, we do have Overpass, which honestly is a great middle ground for both teams. It's a map that both feeds into the execute side of things. You can get those full smokes onto the B-bomb site. You can even completely lock out A for the early plant. Or you've got that pure aim battle down connector in towards Banana and the short long bathrooms area. So there's something in that map for both teams, and with both teams being incredibly fresh on LAN, I think this could be a really interesting game to watch. University of East Anglia, of course, it's the second time they've actually played in NSE. First time they've made it through to a LAN final. De Montfort, the first time they've actually played in NSE ever, and they come straight through to these finals despite being significant underdogs here. So I think we're in for a really incredible game of CS, as we are just waiting at the moment for all of the players to get everything nice and ready. Had a few server issues so far today, but we're working through them as quickly as we can. In terms of individual player profiles from both teams, I've got in my notes that you guys should be watching out for Newman from UEA. He's an absolute beast with the ego to match, so there's potential there for him to either pop off or really fall off. If De Montfort can get underneath his skin, then I think there's massive potential for an upset, especially in that second map, where UEA will be looking to just dominate with their utility as much as physically possible. You've got Mac as well playing for UEA. He's a little bit of a beast with the spray patterns. I was watching him warm up earlier. Absolutely pinpoint precision on those sprays. And on a map like Mirage, like Inferno, where you've got the opportunity to spam through the early smokes, that could prove absolutely vital in getting those early engagements for UEA. And then for De Montfort, we've got Polo with his sick Ursa's Fade knife. Watch out for that when you're watching the game. And Mini, who throughout the early rounds was absolutely top fragging to all hell. He's been an absolute beast in the warm-ups that I've watched, and I think he could be one to really challenge what we've seen so far from UEA in the NSE competition. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I've got. De Montfort, they're going to play puggy. You're going to see a lot of straight-up fast plays, flashes over the top on maps like Mirage, probably an early aggression up Banana on Inferno. Going to use those full Molotovs, take control of the map very early on, and try and catch UEA, the much more sort of organised roster, offhand a little bit. I think that's going to be a key thing, is going to be how De Montfort take chunks of the map away from the execute-heavy UEA. And then on the CT side, I think we're going to see some fairly crazy aggression for De Montfort. I think we're going to see them pushing up Mirage. We're going to see those ramp aggressions. Inferno, we're going to see them trying to contest Banana, perhaps even trying to contest deep into the apartment, second mid-peak. We could see that coming out from De Montfort to try and just give themselves that early advantage and try and cut out the execute capability of UEA, because I think if De Montfort try and sit back and let UEA play their own game, let them get into those mid-rounds executes without any kind of contest, we're going to see a very one-sided game of CS. And then Overpass, if we end up on that third map, I do not know which way that one is going to go. As I said previously, there's just something for everybody in that map. There's places where Newman can absolutely pop off with his individual skill, especially if he goes for a quick dive down the connector or goes for that early peek in towards the fountain. But there's also areas of the map where Mini, perhaps playing on the CT side, could get aggressive in towards connector, just take that map control away again from UEA. And if they're given that opportunity to take away the map, to start getting those early entry frags, dropping the utility of the T side, then we could really see a good game on our hands. And of course the economy, the new economy change that everybody has been complaining about. It's a 50-50 game at the moment between who enjoys the new economy, who hates the new economy changes, who wants to see the resets back in the game. And I think that is going to have a huge impact on what we see today. The ability to not be so concerned about that reset round immediately after you get that first win, I think that's going to play into the Montfort's hands massively, because they're going to be aggressive. They're going to go for those picks. They're going to try and get themselves that pug advantage as soon as they can. And if you're not worried about getting reset, perhaps De Montfort lose the first 3 rounds, they win the 4th. In the old CS, you would be really concerned about getting that reset in and how that's going to affect your economy moving forwards. Now they can just go for it. They've still got that loss bonus in the bank. They have no concerns to worry about, and they can just frag out, go as nuts as they want, flash into a ramp, lose 3 men, no problem at all. They're going to have the money into the next round to get things going. And yeah, I think we are in for one hell of a game of CS, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams are going to be going at it with tooth and nail. I've spoken to Lemmy this morning. He said that they are going to give this absolutely everything they've got. They want to get their first LAN win on the board despite having snow on the stand-in. They just want to get this win. They really were feeling it this morning. They've been warming up for probably 4 hours now, so both teams are going to be as hot as they can be. I don't think we're going to see any kind of a warm-up period in the match. I don't think we're going to see anybody falling off. I think it's just going to be the best CS, the best fragging, the best shots you could imagine all game, and I'm hoping we will get into it very, very soon. Anything else I could say about either team? I mean, I've got here that Dargan is the primary AWPer for UEA. Had that AWP Atheris, the new AWP skin, which I personally love. I've seen a lot of complaints about it, but I personally love the art style they've gone with on that one. And I saw him warming up, and he was playing on an aimbot server and just hitting the most ridiculous flicks you have ever seen. Now, I'm not sure if we'll see Dargan picking up the AWP all that much on Mirage, but Inferno is going to be a huge map for him. There's so many areas of that map you can contest. You can even pick up the double AWP setup early on the T side if you've got the economy to go for it. Get one peeking in towards B, one holding down that mid corridor, not allowing De Montfort to take any really major chunks of the map. Anything else I've got? I think I am literally through my notes at this point, guys. I am going to say that I was watching Lemmy, and I'm not sure he is going to pop off today. We'll have to wait and see. He is a very hot and cold player. He could go either way, and let's hope he goes the right way and we get the best game of CS we probably can. It looks like they are all in the server. The server's on the wrong map at the moment from that screen I'm looking at, so hopefully we'll get that one changed up sooner rather than later, unless they've changed the map pick bounds, which would be hilarious. But servers tend to default to cache, so I'd imagine there's not too many issues there. Players just getting warmed up in the servers now. You can see on your screens Newman with Lemmy to his right, the ego fragger of UEA. He's going to be looking to get himself into this game early on. He said to me earlier that the attitude is, if you act like you're going to win, if you believe you're going to be the best player on the server, you will be the best player on the server. So let's hold him to that chat and see if he really performs in the way he should do. It looks like everybody is in the server now. Perhaps we're just making sure everything is nice and well set up. Nobody, of course, wants to be the one with a config issue early on, calling those technical pauses, just losing perhaps a little bit of momentum that you would get early on in the game. Oh, that's a cheeky technician. Is everything okay? Are there, Chaz? I believe that's Chaz, the man with the beard and the Twitch channel to match. It looks like everybody is okay. Of course, we have been having the issues that I'm sure anyone who plays CS knows about. We've been having issues with Steam being down recently, but I believe we are all up and functional in that regard. So we should be getting into the game sooner rather than later. Cheeky bit of text chat between the teams there, as we are still waiting ever so patiently for this awesome game of CS to get underway. Just to repeat myself in case anybody's tuned in and missed out, the map picks were De Montfort is going to be going on to Mirage, looking to play their puggy styling, as the server is changing maps, so we might be getting ready to go, ladies and gents. UEA, they picked up Inferno, going to look to get their executes going there, and the last map is a beautifully balanced one if we do end up on it. Overpass, which lends something to each of these sides, so it'll be awesome to see where they go with that, as we will see plenty of clapping, handshakes, everybody looking nice and hyped up to get into this game, and I am certainly very hyped to be casting this one for you. Been down here for about 4 hours now, and there is nothing I want more than to get into this game of CS and start enjoying it with you guys. Chaz uses the left-handed view model. There you go, a little fun fact for you. I didn't even realise that. I don't know how people use that left-handed view model. I cannot stand it, but I'm going to keep talking this spiel until we get into the game. Everybody looks like they're getting into the server now. The map is correct. As you see, Chaz just practicing with his aim there, looking for the one deke that absolutely destroys him. And they've left the server. That scares me. They're reconnecting to the server. We have hope. De Montfort perhaps playing the mind games here. Of course, the underdog of the series. They need to perhaps get into the heads of UEA, and that is where Newman's ego perhaps could come back to bite him. If De Montfort start to get into their heads, then I think there's real potential. De Montfort, the comeback team, have had some huge performances. They were very nearly knocked out of the semi-finals, I believe, by Nottingham, going down to a 16-14 win, and that was a huge comeback for them on the CT side. They went absolutely massive. And if they're given the opportunity, De Montfort could really produce an upset here. I am going to say it, De Montfort University very much the underdogs of this one, but we hope that we will get an incredibly close and eventful game of CS. I want to see some awesome shots from both teams. I want to get something to get really hyped up about, as we will very briefly be getting into the game. Yeah, boys. Everybody hyped? Hopefully my observer knows what he's doing and we'll get some good shots of both teams here. It looks like everybody is in. I'm getting some thumbs up to my left, so perhaps it was a spectator issue previously. Hopefully we'll be getting on with that one sooner rather than later. If it is Mirage for the first map, I think Dargon's going to be huge. Especially on, so it's DMU's pick, so it's going to be UEA starting on the CT side of Mirage, and the CT side of Mirage, so many long-range firing angles, you can easily bring out the double AWP setup. You could see Snow even picking up that secondary AWP, and just giving more options to UEA, and I think Mirage is going to be a map where you're going to see the AUGs pulled out as much as possible. Such a long-ranged engagement map. You've got that A-ramp peak, you've got the Palace peak, you've got the mid peak, you can even go connector or underpass. I mean, if you've got the AWP, sure, you've got that first shot, that guaranteed kill if you hit it, but after that, you're very isolated, and on those pistol rushes, we have seen things go south for teams, where they've committed to a double AWP setup, got a double AWP pick mid, and then one of them gets a shot off, but the second player misses, and then the rush starts to come in, and things get really hairy really fast. And I think that is really where the AUG in this new meta sits. It's an opportunity for a team to pick up another scoped weapon to give them that long-range advantage over the T side, where previously you could just expect a swinging AK-47 to win 100% of duels against an M4. If the players are similar in terms of aim and skill, you always expect the AK-47 with its one-tap headshot to come out on top. But with this AUG meta, it's really introduced a much different scene where CTs can hold angles with just a rifle. They can challenge those early swing peaks, and it really has changed the pro meta in the last few months, and I think we'll see a lot of that brought into this game. Hopefully we'll see some simple-like plays as well. Would love to see some of those AWP flicks. I don't know if any of you guys watched Star Series, but that quad kill on the A-bomb site from Simple, if we can get something even remotely like that, I am going to be screaming, chat. People in the server, let's sooner rather than later, please, boys. We would love to get into the games. Now, Lemmy said that he was confident in the win. He thought he was always going to pull off the 2-0, and we are just waiting on one more guy to get into this server, and we can get going with things. Hopefully that guy gets in sooner rather than later. But Lemmy, as I said, we were talking to him this morning, and he said he felt confident in his team's ability, but he didn't know much about De Montfort. They're a little bit of an unknown. Having come through that lower bracket, UEA haven't faced them many times. They don't have much information on them. I do have the insider knowledge that one of Lemmy's friends was actually scrimming with them the day before, so they know what maps they were practicing, but they don't really know what De Montfort can pull off on those maps. With the executes, with the utility, potentially we could see De Montfort pull off a complete 180 and just reverse from that puggy style of play and start to do those executes, and maybe on Mirage we can see them lobbing the smokes in towards middle, the Molotov to under and just completely lock out portions of the map, and that could really begin to frustrate UEA on the CT side of Mirage. And I think that is going to be where the success lies for De Montfort. It's going to be trying to frustrate UEA, trying to put them in situations where they're not comfortable, try and get the opening picks wherever possible, just to cut out some of that utility they've got, take away some of the firepower that they've got available, as we are hearing that the server's going to be restarted. Oh, I love CS, ladies and gents. Valve, please fix. What was I saying? Mirage executes. Yeah, so De Montfort looking to just disrupt the flow of the game wherever possible. I believe that's where the success lies for a team that is very much pug-based. They very much play around the pug setup. They're not massively executed. They're not like big or like Astralis in their executes. They don't use all the utility, completely lock out of sight. Of course, as soon as I say all this, they're going to do it and just completely ruin all of my early game analysis, but we'll wait and see how that one pans out. So yeah, UEA going to be looking to just control the flow of the game, control the rate at which things are going, try and almost slow down De Montfort. I think that's where their big play is going to be. Use their utility early, use the HEs and the Molotovs, slow down De Montfort on the T side of Mirage and just start to build up the biggest lead you possibly can on the CT side, because as we all know, Mirage is a bit of a nightmare for the T side. Of course, with mid-control, there's opportunity there, but heading towards that B bomb site, there is so many angles you've got to clear. Off the top of my head, if you're coming out the apartments, you are clearing van, you are clearing backbench, you're clearing site, you're clearing boost, you're clearing the self-boost onto the boxes, back site, then market, then short. That is too many angles for 1, 2, or even 3 T-sided players to clear independently without a full utility execute, and that is going to be where the success lies for UEA. If they funnel that T-side into the B-bomb site, lock down A, lock down middle, and just don't give De Montfort any room to breathe, because if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and we're going to see some awesome shots coming out. But if UEA really go for that execute style, they really lock out huge chunks of the maps with utility, then there's a huge opportunity there for them to take a swift 2-0 and get through this game, win their final and win that beautiful trophy. As we do see players in the server warming up. Looks like the server is up again, so that's always a promising sign. Is that Scout Necropolis on the second player to the left of Chaz? A bit of a default skin. You can see Chaz with all of the skins in the world. The Shago Dadders, I believe they're Dopplers. I think they might even be Sapphires. They are Doppler Sapphires. Look at those beauties. The AK-47 Emperor as well. A lot of skins on display. If you get the opportunity, watch out for Polo with his Ursus Fade. It is a beautiful full fade knife, in fact. As a skin collector myself in previous years, I appreciate the craft that may have gone into that, as everybody looking nice and warmed up. They should be. They've been warming up for about 4 hours now. Been waiting patiently for the other games of the afternoon to get away so we can get on with the real games of this evening and get into the CSGO. The game that, of course, everybody wants to watch, as Newman has just hit a ridiculous swing 1-dig onto Chaz. Just on the right-hand side of your screen there. I don't know if everybody would have saw that, but that was one hell of a shot. And we will just so slowly wait. We're tempted in. We can see the players in the server. It looks like from here there's about 9 of them at the moment. Still one player comes through my ears exactly as predicted. We got 9 in. We're just waiting for that 10th to get in so we can get this game underway at the NSE finals. And must I say, there is an amazing atmosphere here this evening. I've been around here for a few hours now. I've been watching the League. I've watched some Smash being played. I don't even understand League, but I could still get behind the hype. Everybody here is here to have a great time, and it's been an awesome event so far. Looking to keep that going this evening and into the second day, where there are some absolutely fantastic games for you guys to watch. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember any of them, but I promise you they are good. We got 9 in the server still. Oh, look at those Shago Daggers. They're just making me jealous. They are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful knives. And we will, so slowly, so bated breath, wait for this game to get started. The headshots are ringing out across middle. They are still on cache, so the server hasn't quite jumped to the new map just yet. Hopefully that will be happening in the near future. Of course, used to these sort of tech delays, Surrey Varsity had the exact same issues. If anybody in the chat was there, they know just how many server problems we had back then. So, issue with Steam. Oh, good. We love the Steam authentication. The new 2FA really makes things a bit of a pain. I say new, it's been around for years, but I still dislike it. And we are just waiting for one more to get into the server, ladies and gents, and I promise we will be going live with some of the best CS you have watched in a long time. Newman has taken his headset off, and that fills me with dread. You can see how tired Lemmy looked there. I think he got up at something like 9 AM. He's been on 3 hours worth of trains and buses here to get to this game. So you can see the dedication from UEA. They really want to put out the best possible performance they can with this roster. Of course, Snow on the stand-in does reduce their firepower slightly, but what can you do when one of your teammates is on holiday in Rome? There's just no opportunity. So they've had to pick up the stand-in. Potentially plays into the hands of De Montfort, the underdogs, of course, having that a little bit less firepower. Maybe there's an opportunity to catch some disorganisation, because you can't imagine that the stand-in's been pracking too much. Of course, in the Easter holiday, everybody been going home to see their families. Oh, that's a nice spray pattern there from the man to Chaz's left, but you can imagine everybody's been going home. There's not really been a lot of time to practice with the new stand-in, so potentially De Montfort catch them with a little bit of a lack of almost control, a lack of knowledge of where they're going instantly. Those rush plays maybe catch a player who's late on the buy or late to get to his position, because there's been a little bit of a miscommunication with the stand-in in place. But knowing UEA, they've had plenty of time to practice today. Snow was popping off in the DM servers earlier. He was hitting headshots for days. So I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, but it will be interesting to see how that dynamic pans out with the stand-in. There you go, I lost the word for a second there, but with that stand-in, it's going to be really interesting to see how that dynamic plays out, whether they look to use Snow as an aggressive player to get those early entries. I've heard from Lemmy that he can pick up the AWP and offer that second AWP as an option for UEA, potentially on the CT side of maps. Again, Inferno could be huge for a secondary AWP. Overpass really has opportunities, one towards A, one towards B. Get aggressive A and play passive B. That double AWP setup always works out incredibly well when you see it coming out. And I think UEA, we could see some awesome boosts on Overpass. I am praying for a 3-map series here. I want it to be close. I want it to be tight. I want us to have those clutches, those moments to get excited about. And if we go to Overpass, I think we're going to see boosts all over the shop. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a quad boost doing the rounds at the moment from deep in towards CT spawn. The quad boost over the top allows you to peek in towards B Heaven, or the jump peek, in fact. I think I casted that one about 6 months ago, so let's hope we can see some nutty boosts to get all excited over. That would be fantastic, as I am spieling for days, ladies and gents. I'm trying my hardest to keep you guys entertained while we wait for the servers to get going. And hopefully, sooner rather than later, we will have something to shout about. Again, I'm just going to go back to those vetoes, because I was sat there with Lemmy while they were doing the vetoes, and they called every single map. Lemmy had them read completely and utterly, and you do worry for De Montfort in that sort of situation where UEA have them read. They literally called to me what the veto was going to be while the veto was occurring. And if UEA have a similar sort of read into an aggressive team like De Montfort, a pug-style team like De Montfort, on those sort of maps, then potentially that read offers itself up for a full utility use just to completely shut out the T side of De Montfort on both Mirage and Inferno. Of course, De Montfort will be getting to start CT side Inferno. An interesting one to see. The meta in Inferno has been sort of flowing back and forth with the addition of the Augs. When you get that fast B control through Banana, you tend to see, I think it's about an 80 to 85% round conversion coming in from the T sides if they get early control of Banana, because the CT side, they're just locked out. They've got no information about where they're going to go, what they're going to do, and in that sort of a situation, that rotate through CT on Inferno is absolutely lethal. If you can deny them information even for 10-15 seconds, then you're just going to barrel into the site. 5 versus 2, easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's a cheeky cup of Tropicana in the corner for De Montfort. Looks like one of them's got his phones on underneath, so I'm imagining that he was using that to get his 2-factor authentication all good and going. Hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll have 10 in the server. Change map to DE Mirage is the vote going live at the moment. If we get a full yes on that, we will be on the correct map for the second time, potentially with 10 people in the server, which would be incredibly exciting, because I am more than ready to get into the play-by-play, the stuff where I feel I am best. Newman is ready to rock and roll by the looks of things. He's been talking it up all afternoon. He's been saying that he is going to be the top fragger on the server. He is going to pop off on both maps, and it will be really interesting to see if he can perform to that standard. I think that could be one of the key winning factors for UEA, sort of the win decisions they have to make. Newman needs to pop off, and Dargan needs to have a really solid CT side with that AWP. If he can get both of those things running at once, I don't think De Montfort are going to have a fun time on either of the first two maps, and I think it's going to be really difficult for them to get anything going. In terms of De Montfort, their win condition is to cause chaos, to play that pug-style CS, get those early peaks in, and just catch UEA, perhaps with a nade out. Catch them trying to make something, make an execute, even on the T side. Catch them making executes, get aggressive up mid, take an MP9 and just run at them, pop flush your way through, and just mow them down while they're lining up those executes. And I think if De Montfort get that chaos and UEA don't click fully with their stand-in, that's De Montfort getting the W. But as I said, this is going to be one incredibly close game of CSGO, and I am incredibly hyped to be bringing it to you today. We are very, very close to getting this game underway, which is good, because I am absolutely out of things to say to you guys, but I am just desperate to get into this game now. Of course, with UEA being the higher seed, they had to forfeit the first pick, which didn't really trouble them that much. We saw an insta-train ban from De Montfort, which again is a massively execute style map. It's just a map where smokes, nades and mollies reign supreme over all sort of individual skills, so unsurprising that we saw that ban coming through instantly. Then UEA banned Cash, which Cash is almost an overpass. There's the opportunity to get those execute style plays, but there's also the opportunity to just go nuts on the fragging. A couple of smokes over mid, wall of smokes into mid, go through B and just absolutely frag out. So you can understand the insta-ban there from UEA. Not a map they practice significantly. Not a map they really have too much knowledge of what De Montfort are going to be doing. Of course, UEA playing without a coach, so nobody there to sit and analyse the VODs like our dear Spoon. Shout out to Spoon if he's watching tonight for being the CS coach for the Surrey boys. Nobody like Spoon for either team, I believe, to really get into what we're going to see. No sort of counter executes, no counter strats, unless one of their players has really committed the hours to sitting and watching those VODs, which is a pain. So I cannot imagine that either of these teams really has an awful lot of knowledge about what the other team's going to bring to the table, which, again, sometimes that lends itself to a really great game of CS, and sometimes it just lends to utter chaos. So we will have to wait and see which way this one goes. Alright, that is me all but done with my spiel. So we are going to be watching very, very soon for the new people here. University of East Anglia up against De Montfort. I believe their name is Dabosaurus Rex, which I do not approve of whatsoever, but each to their own. UEA Concrete Strike their opponents in the NSA Spring Championships finals. De Montfort very much the underdogs of this one, so should be an incredible game of CS for all of us to watch. And I will just quietly sit and wait while I can see the teams, and they look like they're pretty much ready to go, and indeed they are. We have the match starting. It is going to be UEA Concrete Strike starting on the CT side. Looks like Mac is going to be the one to pick up the defuse kit and utility. No utility picked up by Dabosaurus Rex. As expected, De Montfort not looking for the executes. Mac has indeed picked up a smoke and a defuse kit for the CT side, as it looks like it's going to be an early posture towards a contact B play from De Montfort. Mini just starting to clear the angles. You can see Lemmy wants to jump peek this angle. He wants to get the information early, and he's going to spot out 3 heads. Gets tagged up, but gets away with that one as the rush starts to come in. Now Lemmy needs to get off the side. That's a beautiful headshot from Dargan, but instantly traded by Mini onto Lemmy. And now Dargan isolated, and Gush down to 9 HP. Needs to back off. Allows Newman to come in, though. In from Market with a beautiful headshot onto Chaz. 4 versus 3 on the retake, and there is opportunity here for the CT side. You can see Dargan almost completely locked out at the moment. He needs his teammates from Market or the support from Short, which you can see Snow is starting to make his way towards Short. Going to get boosted up and give himself a bit of an off angle. The T side playing incredibly passively. They want to wait for UEA to walk into their crosshairs. Mini still hidden behind bench. The bait is there. They know where the first player is, but Sovereign's got the better of one. Newman again comes in with a huge headshot. Snow gets the second. It's down to a 2 versus 1. Mini playing for time, but Mac with a huge headshot. UEA will be securing the pistol round on De Montfort's pick. That one looked like it could have gone either way, but UEA just showing perhaps why they were in that upper bracket. The headshot from Mac at the end there, an absolutely stellar lineup from him. And we will see the second round buy coming in. Newman instantly picking up the rifle. 3 rifles picked up early on by the CT side. Not much respect for this force buy. It's going to be down to 2k. Not going to see the full force from Dabosaurus Rex, and it looks like UEA read that They've not picked up the SMGs or the utility as it's going to be a fast mid player. Newman's going to have to hold this down as the peaks start to come in. There's Deagles there. He needs to watch out. The spray gets a little bit of a tag, but now he knows there's so many players up there. He's going to look for the support as Darkin comes from short, and he has Snow holding passively, but Mini with a beautiful one Deagle take down that mid player. And again, you can see how De Montfort could start to just cause a little bit of chaos. That mid player's down. The M4A1 has been recovered by Snow. That is a small gain for UEA as Darkin's trying to hold from short, but of course he's got very limited information as Dabosaurus Rex really haven't set themselves up for anything just yet. They've got Nero, or Roan as you take it in the brackets, holding towards mid, but the rest of his team are deep in towards the apps, and you can see Lemmy jump peeking with this Molotov. His role is literally to drop that molly as soon as he sees anyone, buy time for the rotates to come through. Of course, De Montfort with the man advantage are going to be looking to cause chaos wherever possible. They are just going to be looking to bolt it out onto this site. Sovereign lines up the only smoke grenade that T-side has, and that means it is go time. The smoke going to rain over as the push starts to come in. The nades are going to do huge damage. An awesome tag. The Molotov a little bit too deep from Lemmy has allowed them out, but the UMP can start to do work now, and as they waterfall out of the apps, Chaz is going to get one. Nero with a second out of nowhere secures the site into a 2 versus 2. I thought that round was all but done, and you can see how passively Mac and Snow are trying to play here. They're both in towards market, but Nero's got a beautiful angle to try and shut this one down. Snow's going to go wide, and the aim punch betrays the first man. It's down to Chaz, 22 HP, only a P250 in his hands. Snow will secure the second and secure the round for UEA. Concrete Strike. That one was an impressive round from Dabosaurus Rex. I hate saying that name so much. With just pistols and a couple of nades in their hands, they managed to get 3 kills, and you can see how that's affected the economy of UEA. They're really not going to have a strong buy into this one. Lemmy, nowhere's Lemmy picking up the AWP. He's got to be dropping that. There we go. Newman's going to be taking his ego to that AWP as 5 AK-47s and full utility come out for De Montfort. You can see how they're slightly lacking in the utility. Lemmy doesn't have any head armor, neither does Newman. Sovereign's going to go towards middle early on. He's going to have to be a little bit careful. Newman set himself up on a beautiful angle with the AWP. If he drive peeks here, he's utterly dead. How has Newman missed that shot? That'll be mid-control established, and Newman's got to be kicking himself here, as he's given up mid-control to the T-side very early on. The flashbang blinds him, and he almost hits the shot as Polo starts to make his way out from under, looking to isolate that mid-player once more here. Oh, Dabosaurus Rex, that is a risky play from Newman. He somehow gets away with it as the flashes start to rain in from the CT side. Now, of course, very limited in their utility usage. They don't have the buy into this round, so they've got to be sparing in how they look to use it, and I think that's what's trying to bite them in the ass at the minute. 5 versus 5 still on the board as 1 minute 10 comes and goes. Neither team really looking to get aggressive early on. You can see they've got a little bit of control in towards connector now. Dabosaurus Rex, Polo starting to clear out the angles, has the support from top mid of Mini, but of course they haven't cleared short yet, and that is currently where Dargan lurks and waits in towards that ladder room. And he can probably swing in front of this Molotov, in fact, as Polo's going to lob it deep in towards short. That'll allow Dargan the opportunity to still swing as they look to come into this A-bomb site now. Snow incredibly isolated, needs to go big, swings with the right timing. Mini actually kills his own teammate, but then will find the headshot to bring it back into a 4 versus 4 as they look to come out onto this A-bomb site. You can see Face is so passive as Mini gets another beautiful headshot onto that short player, and that means A completely open and trying to go over the smoke. Mac will find nothing. 3 versus 2, Newman in towards CT, needs to hit his shots, and the flick just not there at all. The ego not working out so far as Chaz takes him down, and it's down to Lemmy. 1 versus 4. Beautiful shot for the first. Gets the tag. He's down to 67. He does have a smoke and a flash to try and get his way across here. Plant very much for short as he fires a couple of shots off, just trying to bait out some positions, but a very passive play from De Montfort, and it's going to mean Lemmy backing off in towards CT, looking to save that AWP, and Sovereign going to go through the murder hole here. He wants to challenge this. He's broken it though, so Lemmy knows he's coming from the left. He needs to be, of course, very careful of the opportunity to push through from CT. It looks like Sovereign not even going to go on the hunt here. They have a little bit of money, Dabosaurus Rex, and they're going to pick up their first round. I'm surprised we're not seeing them trying to take that AWP away from the CT side. As you can see, their economy really starting to struggle now. Mac, one of the 2 players to stay alive in that second round, manages to have $3,900. Could see a pistol and armor on him, maybe even a little bit of utility. You're going to expect Lemmy going to be keeping that AWP. Want to give it to the player with armor, although Newman has just picked up armor. It's going to be Deagles for the remainder of the team. Of course, Dabosaurus Rex sticking with what they know, 5 AKs and utility, as they're going to try and get some control towards the ramp early on. Nero just spamming the angle, looking for anybody crossing through, but nobody for the time being as Lemmy gets a lovely opening pick. Instantly traded out by Chaz, though, in towards Palace. You could see Snow trying to get aggressive, trying to give himself an angle to work with. Not going to work out this time. And now with that AWP in towards mid, you can see how De Montfort just start to slow down their play. They're not even going to try and contact that angle. They know that the AWP is the safe rifle, so they're instead going to look to group up towards A, use a couple of smokes perhaps, lock Lemmy out of this site, and just look to plow through Newman on that USPS and Mac with the Deagle deep in towards CT as the peaks start to come in now. Now Mac should spot out the first player. No need to contest this angle now. He's got the information for his team, and that should allow the rotate to come in. Dargan, the last man, the lone player towards the B-bomb site, is just jump peeking for the time being. Should come here sooner rather than later. Is Newman going to be challenged on the cross? Lemmy, you can hear that scope come in as the utility is going to be raining down from Dabosaurus Rex, looking to completely lock this AWP out of the site as Mac is tagged down by a beautiful HE. 4 versus 4 retake, but the firepower very definitely favours Dabosaurus as Lemmy absolutely rips Nero's head off. Lemmy with a second, but Mac's been traded. That AWP's still available for UEA, and that creates a huge risk for Dabosaurus Rex. Newman is just waiting for the information. They spot out the first player. Lemmy going for the wallbang, won't find it, but Mini's down to 9 HP. Finally, Lenny with his 4th of the round. Wallbang through onto Mini. 3 versus 1, and Lemmy has pulled off the ace. The only player with a rifle in his hands. A full ace from Lemmy. Absolutely popping off. 7-2. You can expect his ADR to go through the roof here. Oh, can we turn that volume down a little bit, boys? We don't like the easy friends in this stream. Lemmy goes absolutely huge for UEA, and if you are Dabosaurus Rex, you have got to be wondering where that round went wrong. You had the firepower advantage, you had the utility advantage, you had everything you could ever need on your map pick, and it just goes south. They are going to force immediately after. 3 AKs and a couple of Deagles picked up as the full buy very much on the cards for UEA. 2 AK-47s saved as well as Newman's going to take that AWP back towards middle, gets flashed in early on. Smoke will cut him off. Not quite got the timing, but that nade again is absolutely huge from UEA. Mini down to 60, Sovereign on 67. 2 early tags, makes them a one-shot headshot, of course, with the M4s, which is absolutely key. Dargan wants to get aggressive in towards short. It's smoked off for the time being as Polo hits a huge 1 dig onto Snow towards the A bomb site, and the execute is going to come through onto A. They're locked out for the time being. Newman can get one, but at close range, Mini instantly finds the trade, and that leaves again Mac towards CT. You can see Dargan towards short. He desperately wants to get something going. He will find a beautiful headshot onto Nero as he looks to make his way onto the site. That's actually got one. Oh, Mac goes straight over the smoke, gets one. The trade there, and Lemmy gets deleted by Mini. One of those star players that you should be looking out for on De Montfort. Mini, 2 versus 1. Dargan has full HP and he has utility to work with. Has to be careful though. Doesn't want to get caught with an nade out. He's got this early peek and Mini rips his head off. Dargan could spot out only the head and can't quite land the timing on that shot. Just not got quite quick enough reactions. De Montfort instantly bite back for the second. This is going to be one of those maps that rocks back and forth like no tomorrow, I believe. 3-2. UEA not willing to give up yet. Another force instantly. Neither team wanting to give up the back and forth we've seen so far. 5 AKs and utility as Lemmy once more with the AWP is going to be going towards middle. The Molotov towards connector is to try and cut out that secondary peak angle. The smoke for the cross is going to hit. Now Lemmy looks to change up his angle. He's almost looking for that short push. He's going to allow Dargan to take it up, and so nearly from Lemmy. Again, so close to getting that opening pick through the smoke. A huge amount of splash damage onto Newman, but now Dargan goes for the peak. The spray is good for 1, but the FAMAS betrays him, and the trade comes through from Chaz. 4 versus 4. A couple of tags to work with again for UEA. They're finding a good amount of damage early on in these rounds. As De Montfort, they'll hear that Molotov ticking onto Newman, and he'll have to back off of the angle. Mid-control for the T side, and actually, UEA have completely abandoned B here. You can see the bomb deep in towards Palace's Snow. It's a beautiful shot to open things up. The inaccuracy won't work for him the second time of asking. The spam not quite going to connect on the Sovereign. He will go for another peek, perhaps over-enthusiastically. Does find the shot, but at the cost of 45 HP. And you can see Mac wants to be close to that Palace angle with the P250. It looks like Dabosaurus Rex are just going to walk into this B-bomb site here. Newman has rotated finally from market, and he will hear this execute start to come out. Needs to hit this first shot. He absolutely has to hit the head off of Chaz. He misses it completely. The timing not quite there, and now he's got to try and swing towards this site and lock it down. You can see the rotate coming through from Lemmy, but he's not going to be there to support in time. Newman spots the first player across, baiting the shot out from Chaz, and he can't quite find the frag. Chaz takes him down. 3 versus 2, a P250 and an AWP. Lemmy going to find a beautiful opener. Chaz taken down. 2 versus 2, and his Sovereign swings onto this angle. Lemmy has got him absolutely locked down for the time being, though. Dabosaurus Rex is going to be playing very passively. They don't want to give any kind of an opening. Of course, Macy has recovered to a deagle, or picked up with one of his dead teammates as Lemmy starts to wander his way onto the side. The footsteps will give it away. Mini hits the first shot, and Lemmy cannot quite find the flick. Dabosaurus tie things up. 3 rounds apiece. The Force Buy finally betraying UEA, and it looks like they will be forced to go for the eco here. If they eco this round fully, they should have enough loss bonus to be getting into the full buy into round number 8, so expect to see USPS's just a couple of flashbangs to enable a couple of peaks, try and just take away a rifle or two from Dabosaurus Rex, because you can see they're pretty heavily invested into this round. Besides Mini, everybody's pretty heavily invested, in Nero with that AWP is going to be challenged early on. 4 USPS's in fact, trying to run him down. The Molotov though, beautifully played by Nero. That looked incredibly awkward. UEA Concrete Strike going to jump straight over it, and Dargan with a beautiful headshot will take down that AWP, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Just challenge, take away the rifles early on. Of course, now Dabosaurus Rex know that this is an A push, so they're going to back off towards the B bomb site. Leaving Chaz a little bit isolated. He can only find one. Again, just the swing, and Newman rips his head off. 4 versus 3. There's an AWP recoverable in towards spawn unless they've lobbed it over the wall. Lemmy's got his hands on an AK-47. There's 2 rifles available. This is doable for UEA. Out of nowhere, they found 2 very opportune frags, got an AWP into their hands, and now they can start to try and get this execute going. Snow, the secondary AWP, does have it in his hands. The peek comes in from Mini, but he has shut that down. A beautiful double swing. And now, surely, if you're Lemmy and Snow, you're thinking about saving those rifles, and indeed they are. They're going to back off towards top and mid. They want nothing more to do with this round. If they can keep their hands on an AWP and an AK-47, that just means they're not going to be reinvesting into the next round. They're going to be able to pick up more utility, perhaps the defuse kit for the side. Allow players like Dargan, Newman, and Mac, who died, just to get a little bit more into this round. They don't have to worry perhaps about a defuse kit. Snow will miss the initial shot onto Sovereign, but again, there's not too much money in the bank for Dabosaurus Rex. They're not going to be massively committing to the hunt, and they will secure the 4th round as the buy for what, the 3rd time now is going to come in from UEA. AWP's been dropped on towards Dargan. I can't quite see from the map. It looks like he has a little bit of an A ramp spawn. Instead, he's going to take the AWP in towards middle, completely contradicting any player would have imagined. In fact, he's going to take the AWP towards the B bomb site. Looks like it's going to be down to Newman with the AUG to take that mid hold, as Mac is left with a huge job to do here. De Montfort lining up a full execute in complete contradiction to everything I said in the pre-match analysis, but it looks like they're lining up the straight A smokes here. You can see Snow is in somewhat of a position to assist from Connector, but if the smokes come through, the Molotov top stairs, there's going to be nothing he can do. As Matt commits to the site, I think something really interesting. Through the smoke, a little bit of damage onto Chaz. The utility rains out, and they're trying to execute through, but they haven't cleared all the angles. Matt gives away his position. Could that be mistimed? The trade comes in after 1 from Nero, and that means this A bomb site completely locked out. You're looking at a 4 versus 4 retake with very limited utility for the CT side, as Newman, as soon as I say that, finds himself an initial pick. Dargan with this AWP needs to get something going early on. 2 from CT, 2 from Connector. They're spotting out the players as Dargan tries for that wallbang in towards under. Sovereign goes for the swing, somehow can't quite find the frag. The pop flash not going to land from Polo, and Newman will take down a second. Polo's been spotted out. He's been tagged through the stairs there. Finally able to find his shot as it's 3 versus 2. The smoke onto the bomb, but Chaz swings from Palace. He's looking to take down the defuse here, and he's managed to do it. I don't know if there's enough time. I believe there is for Newman. No kit. I'm trying to hear the bomb ticking. I don't know if he's got this. This is going to be right down to the wire. I'm trying to hear the bomb ticking. I think he's just got this. There's a defuse kit right there. If he hadn't got that, he would have been kicking himself. But UEA pull that round out of absolutely nothing. Newman goes big when his team need it most. Almost lets his diffuser die and lose the round, but recovers beautifully. 1 more buy in the bank for Dabosaurus Rex before we're going to see them back onto the pistols and armor that this new economy allows. You can see how UEA Concrete Strike, having bounced forward and back with these rounds, they're really not set economically. It's going to be the scout onto Snow, who's going to be taking that in towards the A bomb site, looking for the A ramp peak early on. Actually spots out Mini. Can't quite land the initial shot. Utility still fairly sparse from the CT side, but De Montfort not really doing anything to bleed away that utility. They're not throwing early smokes towards mid. They're not forcing the CTs to make a counterplay, which could come back to bite them, as the A execute once more is going to be called, and this time Mac's going to know what to do. He's going to see these nades coming over. The early pop flash in towards Ram's going to allow him to peek. Fully blind Sovereign just wandering through the spray. It's good from Mac. He's found the opening pick, and now he just needs to stay alive towards triple. They're spamming him from all possible angles here, and he is going to be found. Mini through the box will finally find the shot. 4 versus 4. Bomb goes down. That smoke CT almost looked like it had a little bit of a gap, but Nero manages to take down Lemmy in towards jungle. 4 versus 3, and with an AWP and a scout on the cards, it's not looking good. But somehow Newman, straight through the boxes, will find a refrag. 3 versus 3. You can see Snow trying to bait, get some information for his teammates. With that scout, he's going to have an incredibly difficult job getting anywhere into this site. The scout rings out, and of course now they'll know what the players de Montfort. The push comes in from towards CT. The first tap of the bomb is to try and bait out the peaks. Chaz is going to swing wide with Polo with a beautiful double spray down. Newman only able to get one in response. Tagged down to 21 HP. Playing behind triple, 1 versus 2. Newman's running out of time here. That bomb is ticking away, and Nero will find the shot and find the frag. The rounds rocking back and forth like no tomorrow here. You can see Newman leading the scoreboard at the moment. 10 frags for the CT side. Mini the only one besting him on the T side with 12. A very tightly contested game so far. Going to see UEA Concrete Strike back onto the pistols again. No money for them in the bank, so potentially Dabasaurus is going to be securing a 2-round lead for the first time in this game. Full buy for them. They do have the AWP onto Mini, and we saw that get them in some trouble on this previous pistol buy when they got aggressive towards the A ramp, but Dabasaurus Rex fully set for that. They've got 3 players holding for the execute in towards the A ramp, so they're going to have plenty of information about what's going on as Sovereign gets the initial frag onto Lemmy, who was trying to get aggressive. Dargan, to counter that, is going to start to push in towards the BX. He's got the lineup, but he misses the shot. You've got to hit that one at this level as Polo punishes him and rips his head off. And the execute's coming through onto both sides here. Mac playing the headshot angle is going to get absolutely destroyed by Sovereign. And now 5 versus 2 on the retake. This is just a damage game. You can see Snow actually manages to creep in towards the Palace and gets a double kill with that USPS. There's nobody else home for the T side. The bomb, however, planted towards B. I got a little bit excited there before I checked my map and saw the bomb instead has made its way down on the B bomb side. Still a fairly major mistake from Dabasaurus Rex. Going to gift 2 rifles again to the CT side and just open up the opportunity similar to how we saw it a few rounds ago where they saved 2 rifles, then the buy is just so much stronger from UEA. They can get their hands on more utility, they can get more defuse kits, and they can look to shut down Dabasaurus Rex, who so far have been profiting from almost a little bit of a random playstyle. Haven't seen too many executes. We've seen them try and go A maybe twice now. The utility has locked out the CT side. Not something I necessarily expected to see de Montfort pulling out, but it is an interesting call. 6-4 up. We should see the buy coming in. First pause of the game. It looks like it's come from Dabasaurus Rex. A 2-round lead, perhaps thinking about how they can stretch this one as far as they can go on the T side of Mirage. Their pick, so clearly feeling confident on the CT side. Everybody always picks the CT side to start on, so de Montfort must be feeling confident that if they can get a few more rounds on the board here, they can potentially take this first map and look to pull off an upset. As the pause timer counts down, you can see it will be the buy coming in from UEA Concrete Strike. Mac could drop an AWP across. Instead, it's going to be picking up that M4, and the utility, again, quite limited across the roster. Dargan with just a smoke in his hands. Lemmy a smoke and a flashbang. Fully invested into this round. Newman, the only one with any real money to work with, of course, with that string of frags he's been getting early on in this game. Full buy on the cards for Dabasaurus Rex. Orp once more onto Chaz. 4 AK-47s to work with. Full utility. I would be surprised if we see it being used necessarily from the T side. Not well known for their executes, as they're going to go for a contact B early on. Polo actually starts to run immediately. It's going to be a straight B-rush here again. The Madness looking to come out. Dargan on the site is going to back off and try and buy himself a little bit of time, but he's got no support towards short. Fully blind Polo will be taken down early on. And that gives Dargan some opportunity. The swing for the second is there before the trade finally comes through. That Molotov buys a little bit more time on this rotate as the CTs look to swarm in towards this B-bomb site. 4 versus 3. The bomb yet to go down. Mini's actually taken that really tight to the angle. Holding close right, not really what you want to do with that bomb. As now he's going to look to correct it, but Snow swung from short. Playing around the edge of that smoke. 4 versus 2. The mistake from Mini, could that be to the detriment of this round? 4 versus 2. Nero will get the bomb down. No, the Max got aggressive and he's going to fall as well as Newman just tidies up the mess. And that one mistake from Mini really just the catalyst for that round to fall apart from Dabasaurus Rex. Almost a little bit unfortunate. I don't believe Mini would have known that he had the bomb in his hands there. If he knows he's got that bomb, there's no way he's pushing onto that tight right position. He's not going to try and hold for the push from the CT side. He's going to be hightailing it straight onto that bomb site, getting the plant and giving himself opportunity to play the afterplant situation. As you see, they've got money to buy here. Nero could drop a couple of pistols. It's going to be pistols and utility. The lone AK-47 onto Polo. A little bit of an interesting buy here from Dabasaurus Rex, but they're going to look to go straight towards this B-bomb site again. They know what they made the mistake with last time. They know that if they can get that bomb through and across early on, they can isolate Dargan. Playing a little bit more contact-orientated early on. Dargan Wastes a little bit of utility. He does have a Molotov in his hands, looking to jump peek the angle, and as this utility comes over, he should know. He should drop this Molotov immediately. He hasn't got time. The Molotov forces him out of van, and now he needs to hold this down. The pistols and the lone AK, they're going to jump out. Beautiful headshot initially from Dark. He's looking for more, playing around his own Molotov, but the trade is there. The spam of the CZ from Nero works out, and you can see Chaz instantly grabs the bomb. No more mucking about. That bomb is going to go down on the B-bomb site. 4 versus 4. Couple of pistols, but there's a recovered rifle onto Sovereign, who sets up with a beautiful angle close right, and he's going to find the initial shot. Polo takes down Newman through the smoke. The splash damage is good. Mac only able to get one as Lemmy just straight up taken down through that short smoke. Mac trying to spam everything he can. He baits up Polo's position, but there's too many peaks coming in across the board. Snow gets one. 1 versus 2, but Chaz peeks from Van with a beautiful 1 deke. And again, Dabosaurus Rex, they just run the same execute twice. They know what they messed up the first time. They just make sure that doesn't happen. They get the bomb straight onto the site. Chaz, no messing about, not even bothering to peek short. He's gone straight for that apartments plant. He knows the player's up there. He does only have the CZ in his hands, but that's spammable as anything. As we will see the next buy come in, both teams going to be able to buy into this round. Of course, the force working out beautifully for Dabosaurus Rex. No AWP available on either side, so expect to see a little bit of contest towards mid here as Newman with that AUG is going to be locked out by full early utility. That Molotov, I believe, was meant to land connector, and it has, but Newman still finds the early pick. That is a beautiful headshot from Sovereign, instantly finding the trade. And that is going to be what really secures this round. 3 players towards A for the CT side, and they've really stacked this. They are gambling on this situation, going towards A, as the bomb from Mini does exactly that. And that is a little bit fortunate for UEA as the round just slows down. Both teams taking stock of the situation. Dargan left alone to control B. Nobody towards mid, and if Sovereign uses that Molotov and smoke to start to allow him to peek, he can start to flank from connector. Then things get really rough for the CT side. Too many angles to try and hold can make this round fall apart. Lemmy nice and aggressive towards under, has Mac on the site, but we've seen Mac struggling to hit his shots throughout this round, as Nero is going to do exactly as predicted. Start to make his way in towards underpass, start to flank towards middle. The utility rains out from Sovereign. That's cut off short. That's cut off middle. They know there's nobody going to peep them now. They're going to come up from con and try and isolate Mac. And Lemmy on the side. They spot out Newman. They try and swing wide. Snow's good for 1. Snow's good for the double, just not traded out. Mini does manage to find Mac on the site, but they have no idea Lemmy's under. They've got no Molotov to flush him out. This is going to be easy. Surely Polo rips Snow's head off, but Lemmy with 1 and Lemmy with the second from under Dark. And then just the lack of execute, the lack of utility comes back to bite Dabosaurus Rex. If they lob that Molotov under early on, they flush Lemmy out, they get that frag, and then Polo hits that ridiculous shot onto Snow on the cross. The round's theirs. They've got the A bomb site. There's nobody there to contest. They do have the money to buy perhaps a consolation prize into this round. Sovereign going to be dropping down onto the Deagle. You can see UEA still struggling to get that full buy on the cards. Snow once more with the scout in towards that A bomb site, peeking towards A ramp. Not going to spot anyone else, so resets towards Palace. De Montfort lining up towards this bomb site. It has been a site they've had some success on. Nero takes a little bit of nade damage, but nothing he's going to be too concerned about. 5 players stacked towards this B bomb site. A little bit of a different setup from UEA. They have Lemmy on the fast play, and I believe Newman's flanked deep in towards underpass, so that's a real opportunity to get this flank going. Dargan drops the Molotov to buy a little bit more time, and Newman is probably holding that exact angle. If they try and back off towards underpass here, they're going to be in trouble. The pop flash range through. Dargan uses his smoke to buy time. Newman swings for 1, but the trade instantly there. They read it beautifully, and it's going to be down to Dargan and Newman. You can see Snow's trying to hightail it. He went for the mid peak, didn't spot anyone out as this push starts to come in towards the B-bomb site. The bomb still not committed. A minute comes and goes. Dabosaurus Rex not quite sure where they want to commit, and this is the sort of mid-round situation where UEA want to be trying to take control. You can see Newman try to do that, got the initial pick even, was traded out, but this is where you want to see UEA starting to take some control of the map back, as Dabosaurus Rex are going to back off of that B-bomb site, and if you see Dargan or Lemmy get a little bit aggressive into apps, now they buy the information and they buy that rotate, but as it is, they're not going to push in, and that's going to leave Mac and Snow. That scout is going to need to go big from in towards jungle. Currently peeking in towards mid. It is going to be a 4-man straight up push onto this A bomb site. The utility should rain through, and that gives it away. Snow from Palace should be able to molly off Shaz, but the timing not quite there just yet. The Molotov is going to force him back into his angle as the scout goes for the peek. A lovely tag onto Polo's weapon, digs up, and finally Snow hits a beautiful headshot. The trade almost instantly there. Mac has dropped back into CT, willing to give the site up for a retake situation. The spam through from Dark is so much splash damage. Mini down to 2 HP. And that's just, you can't even predict that. Mini trying to push CT. Lemmy will spam away at him though. And of course on low HP, that frag's going to be all too easy to find as Chaz and Nero left to try and do this. Nero finds 1. Chaz instantly with the second. Leaves Lemmy 1 versus 2, and he can't hit the low HP player. Chaz with another beautiful headshot to secure the 8th round. And De Montfort are coming at this game. They are not giving an inch here. The underdogs coming up big on their map picks so far. Last round of the half, so of course we're going to see the force buy coming in from UEA Concrete Strike. Haven't seen a pause from them yet, which is an interesting one. Had some opportunities to perhaps talk through what we've seen from Dabosaurus. They tend to run double execute towards one site, run it for 2 rounds, then change it up. But perhaps UEA confident in their own abilities on the T side of Mirage. As the early flash comes in and Polo's going to start to peek with Mini. This beautiful little double peek. Just make sure that if there's a pistol there, the trade is instantaneous and there's no opportunity for Newman, perhaps peeking from connected, to get a double. But he's going to find a nice tag early on onto Polo. Hasn't actually taken any damage in response. You can see Snow trying to hit the wallbang. Won't quite manage it for the time being. The Molotov forces him to rethink his angle. He's actually just going to sit top of under. Dargan starts to burn alive and Sovereign will finish that job off. That leaves Lemmy very isolated towards B, and you can see Dabosaurus Rex, they know that UEA only play a 2-man stack towards that B-bomb site, so they're going to try and isolate Lemmy. CZ in towards the van, needs to hit these headshots. He spots out the first player, he's going to wait, he's going to lurk, and this is going to open up opportunity. There's 2 players there. He's going to take down the bomb plant. He hasn't got enough bullets. He tries to get his knife out. Newman likes to recover the situation, but oh man, the CZ bullets betray him. And it leaves Macy Mac even 1 versus 3. Tries to jump out early on, but it will be 9-6 at the half. Dabosaurus with a strong showing so far on the T side, and if they can bring that kind of performance through to CT, then we could see one hell of a game on our hands, as UEA would look to take Inferno, of course. You can see UEA were just struggling to take the map away from the T side there, and I suspect that's something we're really going to see Dabosaurus Rex looking to excel out throughout this CT side. Is Sovereign the one tasked with picking up a smoke and a defuse kit? No utility picked up again from UEA Concrete Strike. Mac has, there we go, Mac had saved $800, so he's going to pick up a couple of flashes and a smoke to try and line up this execute on what looks like it's posturing to be a B hit. Newman just being absolutely certain, as expected, and trying to make sure that De Montfort aren't taking that chunk of the map away. Newman's going to go for that peek in towards under early on. Going to get a little bit more aggressive than I would like to see, but fair play to him as the execute looks to come in, and Chaz is going to be absolutely instrumental here. He's been baited by his teammate. Lemmy's going to clear. Lemmy spots him out, but Chaz still finds the initial shot. He's still there. Polo finds a second before Snow gets the trade. And now Newman from the flank is just whiffing for days. Finally hits the headshot, but now he needs to reload. And Nero somehow doesn't capitalise. Newman gets a second. 2 versus 2. The bomb looking to back off towards underpass, and it's going to be down to Newman to try and hold off the rotates. I don't know if he's heard Sovereign making his way in towards CT. He should have done, as Mac actually changes up the plan here. The CT side currently very split between the 2 bomb sites. If Newman and Mac group up, use that smoke to smoke off CT on A, say, flash themselves over, isolate the 2 versus 1s, then there's opportunity here. However, if Newman goes through murder hole here, he's going to get his head ripped off. I believe Sovereign is watching his ankle, just backs off at the worst possible time. He's going to allow Newman straight through if he doesn't peek. Newman's made it into market, and Sovereign has no idea. Oh, this could be huge. You can see Mini has no idea he's being flanked. If Newman just clears bench here, Mini has no idea. 30 seconds comes and goes. The pot flash to allow the peek, and that should call the rotate in, but Mini, he's been spotted out. Newman knows exactly where he is, just takes his head off, not even going to bother messing around with the knife. Leaves Sovereign 2 versus 1, smoking a defuse kit. Newman should hear him starting to come in towards market, and indeed he will. He'll hear all of these footsteps. No reason to peek for Newman. He's just going to hold that angle nice and passively as his teammate hightails it towards short. Planting for short, of course, and now Newman goes for the peek. Tags Sovereign up. Starts to buy time for his team. He's going to swing peek. The burst fire Glock, you don't see that too often. As the peek comes in from Sovereign, and Newman will trade him out. 7-9. UEA Concrete Strike take the second pistol. I believe they took both pistols, and they're 7-9 down, so read into that as you will. De Montfort clearly looking good on their rifle buys. And it looks like UEA Concrete Strike going to give the second round force a lot more respect this time. 2 MAC-10s picked up early on. Does have the perk of being able to farm for that early economy, but also you can pick up more utility, so you can try and counter a force buy from the CT side. We're only going to see a 5.7 and a P250 picked up by Dabosaurus Rex, but understandable that UEA wouldn't want to make as many mistakes as they previously did. A full B stack coming in from the CT side early on, and it looks like it's a beautiful read at the moment. Currently, UEA Concrete Strike look like they're going to walk straight into it, and this is the opportunity for the pistols. Snow gets tagged up early on, and they should spot out multiple players. Snow taken down. Mac does manage to find the trade, and now the Mac-10s can start to do work. The unarmored opponent's just getting absolutely mowed through, and the remaining... Oh, Nero from up on Ninja will get one before he's traded. Dargan gets the Glock out and finishes the job. UEA Concrete Strike looking just a little bit rattled there. They didn't clear all of their angles. They left the player up on towards Ninja, who does get... I believe it was a second kill. Unfortunately, only drops really the MAC-10s. as the reinvestment will come in from both teams. Dargan going to be sticking with the MAC-10. A big call from UEA Concrete Strike, still around behind. The utility, however, very sparse for Dabosaurus Rex. I hate that name so much. The A execute looking like it's going to be postured towards early on. The full lineups are coming through for the T side, and this is where I'd expect to see De Montfort maybe getting a little bit aggressive. They're playing very passively at the moment. If they push now, they catch players with nades out. This is easy fragging territory. But as it stands, they're going to be playing a much more passive start to the round. Snow makes his way close to the palace. As the flash comes out, they haven't cleared under yet, and that could come back to bite them. Snow with a beautiful spray will find the first, and Dargan instantly rips Mini's head off. Nero with the trade, instantly traded out by Mac. 4 versus 2, and this round is all but done instantly. The trade's just too good from UEA this time. As Chaz is going to try and sneak through the smoke. His teammate taken down by Newman. He's been spotted out. Newman's still looking the wrong way. Somehow throws the Molotov and gets away with it and starts to spam through wood. 54 HP Newman should be taken down, but Chaz can't quite land the spray. 9 rounds apiece. UEA Concrete Strike looking to build back into De Montfort's map pick. If they take this, it's going to be a long way home for the CT side. AWP finally brought out on the T side from UEA, and Dabosaurus Rex with some serious decisions to make. You can see economically they are really struggling. They've got Deagles, P250s, a 5.7 and a couple of flashes to try and enable the peaks, but on the CT side, those pistols just so much less viable. You can't just gang up on someone. If you stack a sight, the chance is that they're going to get found out very early on, just destroyed as Polo goes for the early peaks with the Deagle. Not going to spot anyone out just yet. Dargan with that Orpatheris, as mentioned in the pre-game analysis. There you go, boys, cheeky plug. Will be starting to peek in towards middle as Mac takes down Mini on the push. This is what I wanted to see from De Montfort, and it will work out. Nero instantly finds the trade, and Mac isolated just about takes down Sovereign. This is better from De Montfort. With these pistols, you need to get aggressive. You need to try and take the opportunities away from UEA, who are going to go for this utility execute now. Smoke for a far short push. The rotates are already through. Chaz on the close angle can't quite land the initial shot, and Snow will finally take him down. Everybody spraying at him, but he does eventually get killed off. One more player on the site as Polo with the spamming Deagle will find the first. The AWP misses the shot, but Lemmy there to bail him out. And Nero left 1 versus 3. Hasn't been able to push in towards T-Spawn and recover the rifle. So instead, he's going to be lurking towards Murder Hole, perhaps trying to catch off Mac, who he knows was playing towards that A-bomb site early on. At the moment, it looks like Mac is going to get a perfect timing on this flank. Should spot him out. The footsteps might give away his position. You can see Nero was ready for that, but he can't quite land the shot. The aim punch of an unarmoured player just too much, as Mac will rip his head off, get, I believe, his 3rd kill of the round, and the UEA Concrete Strike going to take the lead. Buy is available for Dabosaurus Rex, but their utility, again, you can see Polo to pick up that AWP. He's sacrificing the defuse kit and plenty of utility. Same can be said of Chaz, who, although he will be able to pick up the defuse. And that is just those small margins that can make the difference at this level. The early smokes towards mid are going to cut off Polo's vision. He's looking to get that peak, but nobody going to challenge him towards short early on, as UEA actually got 3 players towards the Palace. A very interesting strat to run on a full rifle buy, but it looks like they do want to hit A through the Palace waterfall. Mini's made his way in towards Connector, and that leaves Sovereign a little bit isolated on the site. Again, perhaps the inexperience showing from De Montfort, leaving that player isolated. He's fairly aggressive in towards the site as well, and that just creates the opportunity. He can't fall back to CT from that position if the utility starts to rain through. He's going to be stuck on the site, and that is where the trade can come through, potentially the free kill, as he actually makes his way in towards under. The leg of the AWP is going to bait beautifully for him, and Sovereign finds the opener from under. Mini gets the second, and this is a strong hold this time. The missed AWP shot from Polo will allow Newman on the peak, and Dargan gets 1, but Sovereign comes out of under, and he's still alive under there, gets his 3rd. Dargan with the AWP is left 1 versus 4. He spots out the early player, a lovely initial shot, but he knows he's got so much more to do. 1 versus 3, a smoke and a flashbang to his name. The bomb was dropped on the site, and Polo has his name and his number. Draws things up at 10 rounds apiece as we see that beautiful Ursus fade. I am so jealous of that knife, you have no idea, boys. There is still a buy available for UEA. They've built themselves up a fairly decent bank, and you can see despite winning that round, it's not great for Dabosaurus Rex. That $3,400 win bonus isn't going to go too far. They've got the buy, they've got the utility, but if this round goes south, their loss bonus ain't going to be too great. Nero this time is going to take the AWP in towards mid. Interesting to see De Montfort rotating the AWP. I don't know if that's based on spawns or just based on who's feeling it at the moment, but no AWP available this time for UEA. 5 AK-47s, which is a shame for Dargan, because as a primary AWPer, we saw him hitting some ridiculous shots in the previous round. Won't be available this time. 10 rounds apiece. Newman's taken the bomb in towards the B-bomb site. Still 3 towards A. I think this is going to be a utility fake. I think they're going to throw the utility and then fake towards A, try and get the rotates, and it's going to be Newman with the support of Snow to make his way in towards the speed bomb site. As 3 players go for this full fake towards A, they're going to try and do what they can. Flash is beautiful though, and Sovereign will find the open of the bomb. Should make its way out for free as Dargan finds a Molotov kill, and the CTs have fully rotated and they've fallen for this. The bomb's going to go down for free on that B bomb site. They're being very methodical here, the T side. They do not want to give anything up. All 4 CT players on that B bomb site, and you can see instantly as soon as the bomb goes down, the rotate comes off, and the CT side know that they've made a mistake. Polo will find Mac, try to lurk towards A, but it's now down to Newman and Snow to buy as much time as they can. Lemmy's hightailing it in towards the apartments. 4 versus 3 as Lemmy finds a beautiful frag onto Chaz. He was trying to make his way through under, and Newman has got a beautiful angle here. He'll find an easy initial frag, and with Polo tagged down to 42, he can start to flank round here. Polo is just creeping around on the side, but he's got so many angles to clear. He's spotted out by Newman, who just lines him up and swings, and Lemmy will find the last frag. 11 to 10 up, UEA Concrete Strike. Need I stress again that this is De Montfort's map pick. If this goes south and we go to Inferno, such an execute map, it's going to be incredibly rough for them to come back to this whatsoever. Pistols once more the order of service for the CT side to try and get themselves something. Both teams have fallen to this sort of pistol buy previously, and there is utility to work with for De Montfort. They've got the smokes, the flashes. They're using a lot of them early on though. Polo's made his way in towards underpass, going for that early peek. He will be challenged by Newman and Snow as the mid-take with full utility. This is what I was talking about from UEA, just that utility execute. They've already made their way out onto the B bomb site, and with these pistols, there's nobody here for De Montfort. Chaz desperately trying to find the rotate, but Newman will gun him down with a P250 at that range. You are never going to win that duel. 5 versus 4, and now these pistols are just looking at an exit frag scenario with no defuse kit in their hands. That bomb goes down, and they've got 30 seconds to find a way into this site, and still so much utility available for the T's. That smoke buys time as Mac finds Mini in towards short. His Sovereign instantly gunned down by Dargan. He's going to go for the repeat. Dargan has no fear and absolutely rips the head off of Nero. With the 5-7 at that range, you almost would back the CT player, but nothing doing as UEA Concrete Strike with a 2-round lead. Polo just trying to stay alive here. Will make his way in towards top of mid. He's going to try and take a rifle perhaps away from the T side. Newman goes for the D, spots out the player and rips his head off. The spray too good for Polo and his Deagle. 12 to 10 up now UEA, and they're starting to build a bank. You can see with the investment of this round, most players are still above 5k. Newman's got 8. They can rebuy twice, maybe 3 times, dependent on loss bonus, even if they start losing rounds, and that's where it really starts to get difficult for the CT side. You can see for them, they've bought everything into this round, but they've got no money left. Nobody on more than $400 for them. So if this round goes south, they are going to be looking at probably maximum loss bonus at this point, but very little in terms of buy. Lemmy goes aggressive early on and just sprays down Mini. A beautiful headshot. Lemmy's just going to bolt it out of Palace. A triple kill for him. Lemmy, how do you do that? Just single-handedly dismantles the hold. Was that 4 nades thrown into jungle by UEA? Making absolutely sure. Yeah, sure, why not? Lemmy has just absolutely destroyed that A-site hold from De Montfort, and that was actually what I thought we'd see the CT side doing in the first half, just going for that fast, aggressive peak and catching UEA off guard with nades out, but instead it is UEA to do exactly that, as Chaz will try to back off. Newman can go straight through that Molotov. He wants to try and find the pick. Won't be gifted it this time, however. You can see Polo and Chaz with an AWP and an M4. It is absolutely vital they keep their hands on those 2 rifles. They're going to make their way in towards the apartments, but that might be a bit of a gift for Newman. He's going to peek wide. Spots out the players. The spam is going to keep them locked in. I think he's waiting for his team here. The Molotov is going to start to burn them alive. Polo going to go for the peek. He needs to get this frag with the AWP. He misses the shot, but Chaz will bail him out as Dargan looked like he was going to come in on the frag and get a flank even and get a beautiful frag. Mixing up my words. And you can see with those 2 safe rifles, there's potential. Polo's going to drop an M4. Chaz can drop an M4. Sovereign picks up the MP9, and he's then the one responsible with buying utility. With Nero dropped, he can get utility as well. And it just gives Dabosaurus Rex a little bit of an opportunity to get back into this game as UEA look to accelerate away on the T side of Mirage. Newman just playing around the edge of the smoke. Polo had him absolutely lined up there. A little bit unfortunate, perhaps, not to quite hit that shot. It is a fairly aggressive A stack from the CT side, a little bit of a read, but at the worst possible timing. Polo has retreated with the AWP. He's going to rapidly make it back in towards that CT position. The bomb doesn't look too sure if it wants to commit to this. They've got no presence towards the B bomb site, so they're really going to struggle to get anything going here. They need to commit to this A hit. For all they know, Dabosaurus Rex have got hyper aggressive in towards that B bomb site. They're going to start to push out now. The initial shot, Sovereign with that M4 that was dropped to him finds a lovely frag, drops in towards under, and the Molotov's going to rain through. This utility could burn him alive. He's 1 HP. He will go down to the Molotov. 4 versus 4, and that's a gift of a frag for the T side. You can't give away gifts like that. Nero will find one through the box, but Dargan and Mac instantly trading. The nade will catch Nero. The wallbang just going forward and back. Bomb's looking to go down here. Polo, you could see what he was trying to do. He was looking for that wallbang, take down the low HP Mac. Give himself a 2 versus 2 retake situation. No utility, of course, for the CT side. Dargan sets himself up with an angle, but that's going to leave him exposed. The tag is good. 2 players incredibly low HP for the T side. Now the pop flash is beautiful, but Dargan misses the shot. He has the support, and that is a lovely double peek from UEA to make it 3 versus 1, and surely not for Chaz. He finds the first shot. He finds the damage on the second. 2 versus 1. He wanted to pick up that rifle, but the E button is betraying him. Does he have E even bound? He can't quite pick up the rifle, and with that reload, time is up. The round is over. Dargan and Mac are going to be saving those 2 rifles, keep building up that economy for the T side, and it's going to be 14-10 on De Montfort's map pick. It's going to be one hell of a comeback there to get themselves back into this game. 2 rifles saved again. We will see the pause coming in, and once more it is from De Montfort. They need this round. This round is all that stands between them and this one going to map point. UEA Concrete Strike looking dominant and increasingly so on the T side. They've just been accelerating into this game, really starting to find their rhythm and hit their shots as well. Full buy on the cards, of course, for the T side. Full economy on their side. Looks like it's going to be pistols for the CTs. I'm really intrigued by this buy. I would have thought they would definitely be forcing up here, trying to prevent it from going to map point, but it looks like they're going to play for the OT. Down to 2k, they're going to give themselves the opportunity to hit that shot. Just give themselves one roll of the dice with the pistols, try and perhaps steal a round away. We have seen it happen previously. They have utility to try and make it work. And then I guess they've got the full buy afterwards if this one doesn't work out. They'd need 5 rounds in a row to prevent it from going to match point, and they're going to get aggressive middle early on. 4 players pushing up. Dargan isolated with the AWP presents an opportunity. There's 3 players there. The flashbang will work beautifully. Dargan finds the initial shot. Mac instantly there to support this. 2 riflers just read that beautifully. The pop flash from the CT side just not capitalized on. That was a beautiful little pop flash from Dabosaurus Rex, but they can't quite find the shot to back it up. And now the T's will look to execute towards B, where Polo is currently incredibly alone with his pistol. He's actually down in the van. Newman spots him out, gunning him down as he drops. And the lone rifle of Chaz is going to find it very difficult to get into this. He does hit the initial shot, but instantly you can see Snow is there. He's covering his teammate. He finds the trade. Nero will pick up the M4. 1 versus 4 to prevent this one from going to map point. A lovely initial shot. Doesn't take any damage. Full health, but no utility to work his way into this round. You can see how much UEA Concrete Strike have. Full Molotov. Spot the player out on the cross. And Snow will rip his head off. Map point in favour of UEA Concrete Strike on De Montfort's map pick. Could we be seeing a quick 2-0 tonight, ladies and gents? There will be a full buy available for De Montfort, of course. They didn't force into the last round, so they're going to have that double AWP setup. First time we've seen it brought out by either team on the CT side, and could that be the catalyst that De Montfort need to get back into this game? AWP and 4AK is, of course, the order of service for UEA Concrete Strikers. Nero's going to go for this early peek, and they haven't really contested connector, so I don't know if Lemmy will be expecting that. He's shoulder peeking it, and Nero will hit a beautiful shot. Lemmy just goes a tad too deep with that shoulder peek. Polo will take a nade in response as Snow's going to walk right into Chaz's crosshair. This should be an easy shot. Chaz, what are you doing? Complete lack of reaction time there from the CT secondary. AWPer will allow Snow to stay alive somewhat fortuitously. Now Chaz looking to make amends through the smoke. Not quite going to connect the shot. 5 versus 4, and now UEA starting to look a little bit rattled. They haven't got a lot of map to work with here. Dargan will find the pick onto Nero. That's one of those AWPs dropped. They should know that Chaz has got the secondary towards the B-bomb site, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a utility execute towards A coming out here. Full utility, of course, available on Newman, Mac, and Snow. They just... Dabosaurus Rex really not bled out any kind of utility from the T side. As the execute is going to come in, this is Snow lining up a smoke. Newman's going to line up one of his own by the looks of things. Snow doesn't want Newman to stand there by the looks of things. And it is going to be this push on towards the A bomb site. You've got Sovereign and Mini into cover. There's a Molotov on Sovereign. If he lobs that towards the ramp, then they're going to have to take time to get a smoke out to put it out. And there you go, exactly as predicted. Sovereign's buying time. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Now it starts to get a little bit difficult for UEA. The clock now favours Dabosaurus Rex, and the push is going to come through. 20 seconds left on the clock. They need to start hitting their shots here, and the pressure is all onto UEA now as they're going to make their way out onto this A-bomb site. Full execute, but Sovereign, he's going to spam out from double. That'll give away his position, but 12 seconds left on the clock. Sovereign just needs to stay alive. He finds the first minis there in support, and Sovereign finally taken down, but 7 seconds. That bomb has got to go down. It's got to go down now. Dargan tries to go through the smoke to make a play. Polo denies the bomb plant, and Mini will swing wide to find the final frag. De Montfort are not down and out yet. The clock, the real enemy of UEA there. They just didn't quite plan it right with the timings. Still map point, of course, to the T side, but 4 more rounds needed to keep De Montfort in their own map pick. AKs across the board from UEA Concrete Strike, not looking to pull off anything too fancy. The double AWP setup kept on by De Montfort, of course. It was the catalyst that got them into this game as they go for a double AWP peek mid. What is that play? Oh, okay. Whatever floats your boat. Newman tries to spam through the smoke and is incredibly lucky to get away with his life there. Mac now trying to do the same. They are playing with fire as Dargan goes for the early peek against the double AWPs. Still 2 AWPs in towards mid as Mini from Connector. And Dargan will finally be taken down. Chaz does hit the initial shot. Double AWP in towards mid is not something I've ever commentated on before, as Newman's trying to challenge this AWP, and that is never going to work. Without utility, you're not going to hit that shot, and Chaz finds a lovely wallbang. Polo's nice and aggressive. Lemmy has the cover here. He's there. He flicks, but the head ducks. And Polo's still staying alive, still buying time for his team. Will find a second, and could it be a flawless round from De Montfort? Start to build up their own economy and make this one seriously competitive. Polo, the last man alive, flashed out to go for that peek. He spots out the last player, and you can see Mac incredibly aware that he's the last man on this server for UEA. There's nothing in it for him, and Chaz will hit a beautiful headshot for his third. 15-12. Things start to get really interesting here. The built-up economy for UEA will mean they've got another full buy to work with. Double AWP setup seems to be working out for De Montfort. You've got to wonder why they didn't bring it out earlier. Dargan finally calls the first tactical pause for UEA. Expect them to be discussing how they're going to execute, how they're going to find that last round into map 1. Take it over the line and go to their map pick of Inferno and try and close this one out in quick fashion. Pause time is over, and I'd expect to see something of a full execute come in from UEA here. Perhaps full smokes towards mid, take mid control away from that double AWP setup. If they're double peeking mid again, a smoke and a Molotov will completely nullify their impact, and then just execute onto the A-bomb site in all honesty. The AWPs are going to go for that double mid peek again, and it looks like Mini and Sovereign will be left to try and defend this. Newman wants to go straight through that. They're going fast here. UEA do not want to mess about. Sovereign's made his way in towards underpass, and you can see how isolated they are. Sovereign gets the double. He's looking for the triple. Lemmy finally able to find the trade. Snow gets one more, but Nero with a beautifully timed peek leaves Mac 1 versus 3. And again, UEA just guilty of not clearing under dark. Oh, that's a lovely headshot initially from Mac. He finds the second through the smoke. Surely not. 1 versus 1. Mac will get the bomb plant relatively safely. Nero does have the opportunity to try for the wallbang if he wants to give away his position. He will. He gets the leg. Mac down to 44. Has the smoke in his hands as he makes his way in towards CT. The bomb is planted for him. I don't know why Mac is challenging this angle, but he will find the shot and find map number 1. UEA take it 16-12, looking very happy with themselves there on the camera. They took De Montfort's map pick away from them, and now they will be going on to Inferno. Somewhat of home territory for them. Lemmy looks absolutely knackered, ladies and gents. A good first map from them. Somewhat guilty of not clearing all of their angles necessarily, as Newman just showing how happy he is with the result there. UEA arguably a little bit fortunate to really get that round going their way. I think if De Montfort just had that little bit more fragging power, a little bit more economy, and a little bit more utility available to them, then that round goes completely differently. But Sovereign from under just got so many frags. He should not be allowed to do that. He shouldn't be swinging for 2, for 3. Yeah, all right, Newman. Don't let your ego get too big, mate. Yeah, De Montfort, Sovereign swinging from under should not be getting a double kill there in any circumstance. The Molotov instantly off of wood should be going under dark, and they should be clearing that angle. So UEA perhaps a little bit fortunate to take that first map, but they have managed to do it, and now they will be heading on to their own map pick of Inferno, a map that some would say is their absolute home. They're going to be looking for executes across the server there. And I've just seen Newman leave the building, so I don't know quite what we're going to do here, whether we're going to go to a break or we're going to keep chatting for a little while longer, but I will keep talking as long as I have to. Yeah, UEA didn't really see a lot of what I was hoping to see from them. They didn't really pull out the full executes quite as much as I'd like. I think, again, in that one round where Mac clutches it out 1v3, if they go for a full execute, that smoke towards jungle cuts off Nero, smoke towards connector cuts off the second swing, and then Sovereign's alone under. You throw the Molotov, he swings wide, that's an instant kill. I think UEA guilty perhaps of getting a little bit too confident as the round started to flow their way. Alright, sweet. I think UEA a little bit guilty of perhaps starting to feel like they were guaranteed to win this one. But they managed to pull it off in the end, and we will be heading to Inferno very shortly. We're going to be going to a very quick break. I'll be back in about 3 minutes to run you through what's going to be happening on Inferno, and I will see you guys then. Somewhat fortunately managing to take Mirage off of De Montfort, and now they head to Inferno, which I've got to say very definitely favours UEA here. We're going to see so many executes coming out across the board, and if we don't, I'm going to be so mad at UEA because I've seen them practicing so many executes this morning. They're going to be able to just cut out so much of the map from De Montfort. We're going to need to see someone go absolutely huge for the Dabosaurus Rex side. I hate that name so much. We're going to need someone to go absolutely massive. They're going to need to start finding their shots, hitting more and more consistent shots as well. And we're going to need to see them taking map away consistently from UEA. Of course, UEA are going to be starting on the CT side, and I think that almost plays into the hands of De Montfort a little bit. because on the T side you can get a little bit crazy. You can just go for those fast plays. I think potentially a fast banana, a fast apartments waterfall out from De Montfort could be absolutely huge, but it's going to take something absolutely incredible from De Montfort to even take this to the third map of Overpass after UEA almost lazily take Mirage throughout that game. They weren't necessarily clearing all of their angles. They were leaving players on site. They were leaving Sovereign in towards Dark to get double and triple kills and still converting the rounds. And I think that really speaks to the quality of the roster that UEA have brought here. Any other team in that situation, Sovereign swings wide, gets the double. The triple comes through from Nero on that AWP peak. Max left 3 versus 1. This round is over. He has no business winning that, but the peak from Connector's just a little bit mistimed, then straight through the smoke. Mac just reads the play beautifully, and again, that really just speaks to who he is as a player and how ridiculous of shots he's been hitting throughout that first map. UEA arguably a little bit fortunate to take map 1 in that sort of a fashion against the De Montfort side, who I really thought could challenge on a map like Mirage. But I was disappointed not to see the kind of aggression that I was looking for on either side, either the T or the CT from De Montfort. I wanted to see them getting aggressive in towards Palace. I wanted to see them pushing all of those angles. I wanted to see a pot flash in towards ramp, get that peak wide, catch them with the utility in their hands. But we didn't see any of that, and they looked to play a brand of CS that arguably isn't really them. They wanted to go for that execute style play. They wanted to use full utility. But UEA were ready for that, and of course they're ready for that. That's their playstyle. That's their home territory. That's what they love to do. They love to use that utility to cut out all of the opportunities. So as soon as they see it coming across, they're going to know the exact counters. They run that strat. If they run that strat, they're going to know what the counter is naturally, and they're not going to have any issues dealing with it. So De Montfort, in this second map, they're going to need to go big. They're going to need to go mad. They're going to need to start hitting some ridiculous headshots. Otherwise, I think this map is very easily going to go to UEA, and we're going to see a swift 2-0. And I don't want to see that. I want to see it go to Overpass. I want to see these two teams really battle it out across a 3-map series. Arguably that Mac 3 versus 1 clutch, the best play we've seen so far, but he was gifted that. The peak from Connector should never have come through. He shouldn't be challenging that angle in a 3 versus 1 situation. He doesn't need to. But when he does, it just goes south, and that's really unfortunate for De Montfort. They looked like they had that round in the bag. They looked like they were going to drag that map to OT, and I think UEA, in an OT situation, could have buckled under the pressure. They were just starting to show cracks. They were just starting to not clear their angles. They were just starting to lazily push onto site. There was no flash across on that last round. There was no utility until very late on. That smoke came, I think it was like, Mac was already halfway onto the site when they smoked off jungle. Like, UEA was starting to show cracks, and I think they've almost been gifted the opportunity to take this 2-0 here, because they can reset now. They can mentally just go, take a break. Inferno's their home map. They don't need to feel the pressure necessarily to get that initial win, to get yourselves off on the front foot. They're there now. And they're going on to Inferno, a map that they're incredibly comfortable on. They knew this veto was going to be going that way. They've been practicing this map all morning. They know every execute, every angle. They're going to be an incredibly tough nut to crack for De Montfort. And I would say the win condition for De Montfort to take this to a third map is to go mental. They need to go huge. We need to see simple-esque plays across the board from them. We need to see them hitting absolutely every single shot. They can't be missing those easy opportunities to get picks. We saw both teams early on, and that really surprised me actually. Both teams early on were missing a lot of picks, despite having warmed up for 4 hours or so. I believe the only thing they could have said of it is that they've just cooled down. They've been waiting in that run for a little while for the server to come up, and they've just lost that edge because they were hitting some ridiculous shots early on in the warm-ups, and then they get into that server and they're missing, and I think De Montfort, on map 2, they need to capitalise on that. De Montfort need to come out all guns blazing on the T side. They need to start picking people off early. They need to make it as difficult as possible for UEA to hold their utility. We need to see De Montfort consistently bleeding utility out of that CT side. And if they can do that and get it into the situation where, say, it's 4 versus 3 take onto the B-bomb site, the CTs are very low on utility, and De Montfort have got 2 players towards apps, 1 short, 1 long, say, then they can start to converge on a site. They know they've got the firepower advantage. They know they've got the utility advantage, and that is where De Montfort could really start to build themselves up a little bit of a game. And if they don't do that, then UEA are just going to walk over them in map 2, because we saw on map 1 they were lazy. They weren't peeking their angles, they weren't checking everything, and they were still winning rounds because the individual skill is so high. So De Montfort are going to need to go big here, and we can see the players just starting to get into Inferno. Chaz is currently on the wrong side as far as I'm aware. They should be on the T side, but we will be getting into map number 2 very, very shortly, and you can almost see exactly what I'm on about. You can see the difference in how they're looking. UEA looks so happy, so confident. They know they've got that 1-0 lead. They know they can start to just play their own brand of CS. They don't have to be so cautious. They don't have to worry anymore. They've got a buffer of a map, and they're going to an overpass third. Again, a map that both teams have practiced immensely hard, so both teams are going to be really good on overpass, I believe, but I don't think we're going to see it. I think UEA are just going to stomp their way through Inferno, just riding on the high of winning that game, arguably in mediocre fashion. As we will very briefly be getting into the second map, and I hope I'm wrong, I really do. I hope De Montfort can bring something seriously impressive to the party. I hope we see some ridiculous headshots, clean takes to the bomb sites, but Inferno's just such a utility-based map, and that is not normally De Montfort's style. They seem to be trying to change it up here, and that could work for them. Map 1, they had that executes coming out across the map, and I think it was just a mistake to bring that out on Mirage. I think you can't bring out the executes on a map that would really suit your original style of play, suit the puggy, angel-y, pop flash your way out kind of plays that De Montfort are known for. And I think if they'd gone that way about it, then that game goes completely differently. But UEA benefit perhaps from a little bit of indecisiveness on behalf of De Montfort, and perhaps the lack of a coach as well. And they will take the 1-0 lead into Inferno. We will be going live with that very, very shortly as UEA look to make this one a swift 2-0. I'm hoping that everybody's in the server and things are all ready to get underway. UEA looking very confident in their own ability. Again, Mac, in that situation, I mean, he's got a stick or twist. I'm going to keep going back to that last round because as a caster, it just frustrates me immensely the way that De Montfort played that very last round. As we will be getting into this game, so I'm not going to go through the last round. There you go, boys. You're welcome. Chaz has picked up a P250, a flash, and they're going to go early aggressive. Oh, this could be big. Mini needs to hit the shots, and again, Dark just finds the opening entry too easily. Lemmy gets a second, and that mid-aggression instantly just neutralised, and that's, again, De Montfort have to hit those shots. I would just like to point out that the teams at the top are the wrong way round, so if that's confusing you, UEA are currently on the T side, going for those early peaks. Chaz in towards the library is going to get spotted out, but Polo does manage to find one back onto Newman, the catalyst of UEA, so things could start to get a little bit awkward here. Chaz with the P250, looking to find the header. Lemmy can't quite hit the shot just yet. 4 versus 3, and you can see how little utility there is left on the CT side. They're going to start to peak the angles, but these Glocks can do so much work against unarmoured and unutility equipped players as the peaks are starting to come in, but the T side wisely just playing for time. Lemmy finally finds the initial headshot. The trade is there, but Snow on the site has found a beautiful shot. Polo with another 2 taps, and it's 1 versus 1. Polo's going to stick this defuse. No, he's not. He's baiting out the position of Snow. The time is gone, and De Montfort will find the knife kill through Polo, but the round will go the way of UEA Concrete Strike. And again, that was just a lack of hitting the shots from from the CT side, as you can hear how much everybody enjoyed that knife round in the background. Now, what do Dabosaurus Rex do here? This map is one of those maps where that pistol force into the second round can really work, but it doesn't look like they're going to be committing to that. Polo's picked up the Deagle, of course, with that knife kill. He's got just tons of economy to work with. 2 Mac-10s from the T side as they look to take control of Banana. The Molotov completely missed, and that's going to allow the CTs to start to get a little bit aggressive, and this is what I wanted to see from De Montfort. They're going to start to take a little bit of control of the map away. Nero playing a slight off angle here. Will have an opportunity. Newman's going to peek him with a nade up, and he can't hit the shot again. Dargan gifted that frag. Absolutely should have got at least 1 dink there, the De Montfort banners. The early advantage again goes to UEA Concrete Strike, and they're going to just straight execute onto this B-bomb site. They've got top Banana control. It's going to be down to Polo on that Deagle to really do the work. Chaz can't be expected to get too much from new boxes with that USPS. UEA Concrete Strike are taking absolutely no risks here. They've got the mid-hold, they've got the second mid-hold. They are not letting any kind of aggressions come in from the CT side, and that was what I expected to see from UEA. Just waiting for their time. The round slows down now as the utility execute is going to look to come in, and Polo needs to go absolutely happy on the T side here. Dargan finds the first pick, and Polo swings wide, but he can't hit the shot. Newman running and gunning with that Mac-10, of course, the perk of the SMG. Will leave Mini and Sovereign with USPSs and nothing else to try and find anything they can. At this point, it is just a damage limitation exercise for the CT side, and Mini will get caught with his knife out, finds a little bit of damage as Sovereign left last man alive. Newman's going to try and hunt him down with the Mac-10, but that's a beautiful headshot from Sovereign. 4 versus 1, they know where their last player is. Dargan will just line him up and take him down. 2-0 UEA, and there will be a buy here for the CT side, of course, not forcing into the second. Gives them the opportunity to pick up some rifles now, and it looks like it's going to be M4s across the board. They're not going to be able to pick up that AWP that potentially could give them a little bit of an edge
Chaz going to be forced to drop down onto the FAMAS. The utility incredibly limited across the CT side. They really haven't found too many frags to open things up. 2 MAC-10s still in the hands of the T side. Could actually work out. There's 2 players without head armors as Mac is just going to go straight out for B control. The nades go too high, and now the MAC-10's going to try and go to work. There's a lovely double hold from Chaz and Nero, a quad kill between them. The bomb dropped top mid, and this round is over. That is much, much better from Dabosaurus Rex. I can't say that name and take myself seriously. Snow, last man alive, will find the first frag onto the mid push, finds the second through the smoke. And now Dabosaurus Rex just need to give him some respect. He's hit 2 beautiful headshots to open things up. He knows the bomb is top banana, and he must suspect that the entirety of that CT roster is just going to be sat there waiting for him. The pop flash goes high. Polo will be falling from the angle. Sovereign's taken down, but Snow has no idea they're going to double peek him there. A triple kill from him does keep this round expensive for the CT side, but De Montfort will get there first on the board. And you really cannot ask much more of Snow in a 1 versus 5 situation. He finds himself a triple kill, and you can again see what that's done to the buy from De Montfort. Chaz again on the FAMAS, Sovereign on the FAMAS. The AK saved by Polo is the most powerful weapon they have in their hands. 5 AKs and a little bit of utility for UEA Concrete Strike to try and work their way back in now. The early nades through the window actually missed initially. As De Montfort, this is much, much better. They've dropped the Molotov deep into mid. That's going to force the smoke out from Newman. And now they can start to maybe try and take banana control. And if you get Nero nice and aggressive on that angle, then you can rotate the second player, Chaz, in towards B, but in towards A even. But instead, UEA are going to go straight out here, and they have no idea. Mini from Graveyard will find a lovely initial shot. Newman instantly on the trade, but there's still players available on the site, and they have no idea. Sovereign finds one. Sovereign unable to get the second, and Snow finds a collat onto Sovereign and Polo, and just single-handedly wrenches that round back in the favour of UEA. Chaz and Nero, last 2 players alive, are trying to find anything they can. They're both going to group up mid and start to make their way in towards short as they make this push, try and work. There's 1 Molotov left, and it's on Lemmy, who currently is actually on the site. Not the best place to have that Molotov. Drop it onto the bomb and buy yourself some time, of course, as Lemmy actually will just start to back off. Chaz gets the better of Snow early on, and the push is going to come in now, but both players are full HP. Lemmy finds a lovely initial shot, and Lemmy will clutch it out. 3 versus 1. A nice double kill on the site again from Lemmy. Snow is going big early on, 6-3, leading the way for UEA, and you can see what I was on about, just hitting those shots more consistently than your opponents. It doesn't matter what they try. If you're going to out-aim them, you're going to win. As Dabosaurus Rex once again back onto the pistols. I am a little bit disappointed not to see too many utility executes yet, but hopefully we'll get them sooner rather than later. 3 HEs picked up by the CT side, and they're going to go for the early nade stack down banana. Nobody committing to it from UEA, as the Molotov going to get a little bit of a tag onto Chaz. It looks like UEA, perhaps with some insider knowledge here, have got a beautiful little read on this situation. They've made their way in towards the apartments, away from that early nade stack, away from the majority of the CT players at the moment. The rotates are starting to come in now. Sovereign's got the deagle in towards long, and if he plays the headshot angle cleverly enough, he could have a real opportunity to do some damage here. Mini close on the angle with a P250 as well. All it takes is 2 dinks, and then the player's down, the AK is recoverable, and you can see Dargan a little bit isolated from his team at the moment. There's opportunity for Mini. He needs to go big, though. He needs to hit this shot as the push starts to come in. A couple of players going to clear out bracket and start to make their way up short as the push is going to come through. A nice initial dink. He finds the second dink. Can't quite find the frag, and Lemmy will actually take his own teammate down in the pursuit of another kill. Nero, close on the angle, just gets baited out. He had to hold that shot a little while longer. Leaves Polo and Chaz 2 USPSs. Again, this is damage limitation at this point. So much utility still available for the T side as the pushes start to come in. Snow's going to go for these peaks, and he'll spot out the first USPS. Chaz rip his head off. And Polo, the last man in towards library. There is nothing left for him in this round. He is in library. He's absolutely cut off. So far away from the site. Snow still has a HE, a smoke, and a Molotov just to keep locking him out if he wants to. Instead, he's going to be holding from boiler in towards bracket, making sure there's no aggression from mid from a second player. An understandable hold you would expect. Perhaps if there's 1 USPS there, you get the second pushing in, but Polo just going to hold in library and look to perhaps catch Newman on the exit here. He's looking for their shots, playing the off angle, and he can't quite hit the shot. The aim punch will betray him. It'll be 4-1 in favour of UEA, and they are looking good so far on Inferno. And of course, 3 rifles saved. You can see they're starting to build up bank on a map like Inferno. The T side can be incredibly punishing in terms of economy, but with this early string of rounds, they're really going to start to build up some bank. Polo going to be dropping down onto the FAMAS, and again, Dabosaurus Rex unable to bring out the AWP, and we saw how great the double AWP setup worked out for them on the CT side of Mirage. Unable to do so for economic reasons, as they're actually going to play very passively towards Banana this round. Not looking to take any kind of control, any map away, and The CT side are playing incredibly passive. I'd like to see perhaps a mid-round retake of this banana area later on, but they haven't got the utility to do it, and that's going to allow Newman just to start to swing the nade. They'll know they've forced off the angle with that nade. So they're going to get banana control completely freely here, UEA. They've not taken a single tick of damage, and on a map like Inferno, if you give banana control away to the T side, you're gifting rounds to UEA. You cannot just give away that control of banana. The push is going to start to come in. Snow backs off. The bomb will be recovered by Mac. And it is going to be a 5-man hit towards this B-bomb site where currently Polo has 2 flashes to work with. He could flash his teammate in. If he flashes Chaz in towards CT, we could see a absolutely ridiculous spray down. But Chaz, perhaps with the worst possible timing in the world, has actually made his way around to Coffins. They'll hear the footsteps now, and the pop flashes will start to rain over. Fully blind Newman, lucky to stay alive there and pushing through the smoke. Lemmy will take down Chaz. A little bit unfortunate there. Polo tries to keep it wider. Triple, he'll get one, but instantly Snow is there on the trade, and you can see how with the lack of banana control, they've just outnumbered them onto the site. Like, they've both found, well, Polo's found a frag there, Chaz didn't find any, but they found an initial frag, but there's just 4 players staring back at him. There's nothing he can do in that situation. And now the 3 remaining CT players will back off, and they will look to save these 3 M4s they have in their hands at the moment. Of course, trying to stay on top of the economy on Inferno is just absolutely vital. You cannot emphasize enough how much economy really affects the flow of the rounds on a map like Inferno. So with no money left in the bank across the CT side, the 3 remaining players are going to back off onto A and save, and UEA Concrete Strike not too invested in going for any kind of a hunt here. They haven't got a whole load of bank. Snow will just have a little bit of clear in towards Mexico, not going to spot anyone out, so 4 rifles kept alive for the T side. Just allows them, again, further build that economy. Just keep it rolling in, give yourselves opportunities. If rounds slip up, if rounds go the wrong way, you've still got buys on the cards. You're not instantly back on the pistols. As the force looks like it's going to come in. The pause is called by Dabosaurus Rex as they try and work out what they want to do here. Chaz has picked up a Deagle, which surprises me, because with Nero, Mini and Sovereign managing to save rifles, you could make an argument for dropping across a couple of FAMASs, and then you get armor, you get utility onto the 2 players who are dropped with, what, 250 for a FAMAS? You've got enough money onto the 3 remaining players to at least get a smoke and a flashbang to try and enable some kind of a push. But Chaz instantly picking up that Deagle is a little bit of a curious one. This pause doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. I don't know if this is a tech or not. Dargan on $1,400. I suspect he's been dropped something. I don't know if he's got the AWP thrown about the place. I believe this is a tech pause of some description, because it doesn't look like it's counting down to anything. So I will wait for any more information I can give you guys on where that tech pause is going. As UEA really showing their style on the T side of Inferno so far. They have had no issues ploughing their way through this Dabosaurus Rex roster multiple times. And again, I just want to see De Montfort take control of some of this map. They need to try and get something to work with. You can see on the scoreboard, Snow is 8 and 3. Somehow Lemmy's ahead of him, probably planted the bomb more times. Welcome to CS. But you can see the dominance in that scoreboard across the board. 8 to 3 for Snow, 5 to 2 for Lemmy. And despite multiple players saving, you can see like the frags don't necessarily reflect the performance so far from UEA Concrete Strike. They've been saving multiple rounds the CT side, so they haven't necessarily been racking up those frags quite the way they should, but they've got so much economy built up that they can really start to just play their own style of CS, not worry about having to drop down onto the pistols, having to have a lesser buy. And you can see the consequence of the new economy, middle on the right, the full loss bonus available for Dabosaurus Rex. So even if they lose a round here, if they win a round and then lose one immediately after, they're still going to be on $2,900 loss bonus. Consequence of the new economy. Some people argue that it does tend to favour teams that don't go on the early win run, so in this case it does tend to favour De Montfort if they start to come back into things, but I like the change. I think it reduces the reset potential. It adds to the number of rifle rounds you get, which are the most fun rounds to watch for people. As we are just waiting, I've seen a couple of the admins making their way into the player area, so I suspect there is some sort of a technical issue. It looks like they're plugging something into a PC, which concerns me greatly, but would expect to see some kind of a buy from the CT side here. Why has Chaz picked up a Deagle? I just beg that that's a misbuy and they can reset it, because if he's bought a Deagle, it's just a stupid play. Chaz, don't do it to me. And again, De Montfort need to take map away. They need to bleed utility away from this T side. They need to start planning their own counter executes. They need to start playing against the flow of the game, because at the moment they're just slowly gifting more and more map to UEA and falling back increasingly passively. They're not giving themselves an opportunity to hit those shots, because you can see they lose banana control instantly. UEA make their way all the way up banana, taking no damage, no nades are thrown at them, so they don't have to bleed any of their own nades. There's no Molotov, so they don't have to smoke it. They just wander their way up top banana, they throw a couple of nades over themselves, they've got top banana control, and then that whole chunk of information is taken away from De Montfort, and they have no idea where that T-side is, because you can see it from UEA on multiple of their executes. They leave one player in towards mid, and they leave the second man towards second mid. Those two players, their only job in this whole round is just to watch for pushes, watch for the information plays from De Montfort, and then when they get that information, when they get that opportunity, they just back off, head to the B-bomb site, 5 versus 2. The utility is limited, of course, because De Montfort haven't managed to get any rounds together, so their economy is bust, and they've been forcing regularly, which never works. Oh, Mini's requested an unpause. There we go, we might get back into the game sooner rather than later, and it looks like Chaz is going to be sticking with that Deagle. Why? Why does he not get dropped an SMG even? Just give him an MP9 and put him close behind Mini Wall. Like, there's so many options there, and I think De Montfort, perhaps not benefiting from the lack of a coach, Chaz has actually picked up a FAMAS. So he's bought a Deagle and then picked up a FAMAS behind it. It's got to be a misbuy. It's got to be a misbuy, as the game will go live once more. I think Dargan has probably been dropped. I'll be interested to see if he picks up an AWP here. He will instead be getting his hands on an AK-47, and 3 towards the B-bomb site suggests that we're going to see something a little better this time from De Montfort. I want to see them take banana control. Here we go. The early utility, and they're not looking to push. Again, they're not throwing that deep smoke. The Molotov is there to buy time for De Montfort to try and get aggressive. They're not doing it. Lemmy will retrieve the bomb, and with 3 players towards second mid, they are posturing for a straight-up A hit here. It's currently Sovereign and Mini alone, and again, that just runs right back to the banana control. They can't peek it at the minute, so they can't rotate the third player off. They've got 3 players towards this B-bomb site still, and UEA are all the way up Palace. It's going to be down to Palace Apartments. It's going to be up to Sovereign here. He needs to go huge. He needs to hit the most ridiculous shots of his life with this MP9. Spam away and just take 2 down. He absolutely has to take 2 down as the push will come in towards middle. Snow going to be the first one to challenge on this angle. The smoke actually just drops off the angle. That will give away the MP9's position. He finds the first shot. He can't quite find the second. Mac instantly there with the trade, as Mini from sight will find one, but in towards Graveyard. Snow, beautiful headshot. 3 versus 3. Utility for both sides. This could be interesting. Bomb's going to go down in a relatively default plant. They're looking to spam through onto Newman. They can't quite find the shot. Yeah, and that's a huge nade, and then Newman instantly takes down Chaz around the edge of that smoke. 3 versus 2. There's plenty of tags for the CT side to work with, and this again is where that utility starts to come into play. If they have HEs here, they can take down 2 players with nades, but they don't. They don't have the money to buy into this round. So it's going to be Polo pop flashing in towards long. They're going to go for these early peaks. Polo's actually managed to full blind himself, so they start to push onto the site. Newman, low HP, is going to play the tight angle, and it's the save again. Nero not quite able to find the shot he was looking for, and it will be the save call once again for De Montfort. Going to be conceding a 6th round, 6-1 in favour of UEA, as they once more keep 3 rifles alive. They will just keep their economy rolling over. Newman, there is no way you survive in that corner, mate. Unlucky. 2 players kept alive then. I will correct my previous statement. 6-1 in favour of the T-side. 2 rifles saved. Not going to be the best buy in the world for Dabosaurus Rex. They should be able to pick up perhaps some SMGs, but they are going to be lacking, as it looks like Newman finally wants to bring out the boomstick, the AWP in his hands for the first time. He's got a lovely spawn for a mid-peak here, but we haven't seen De Montfort try and get aggressive towards mid, so I suspect he'll pick B. Nope, he's going to go hold for a mid-peak that never happened to this day. Polo just holding from long to second mid will smoke the angle off. And you can see Chaz and Nero just playing for information at the moment. Looks like they're going for a little bit of a nade stack, and they have finally smoked bomb Banana, and Nero through the smoke will find an opportune dink and frag onto Newman. That's the AWP down very early on in the round, and I'd love to see how UEA are going to react to that. They've lost a man early on. They no longer have the advantage. Lemmy instantly wants to get his hands on that AWP. An absolute vulture just picking up that AWP as soon as Newman is dead. The rest of his team have got control of the apartments, but not a lot else besides it. They do have utility. They still have the execute if they choose to pull it out. Polo playing a bit of an off angle towards Cubby, can just hide and buy himself some time. Sovereign there in support to swing from short, and this is a lovely little setup from De Montfort. I really like this. Dargan's going to start to peek the angles, but he's isolated at the moment. Needs to be very cautious. If he peeks too enthusiastically, he's going to get instantly gunned down. Sovereign on the angle will be smoked off for the time being, trying to play around the edge of it as the flashes come through. Polo in towards Cubby is going to be key here. He needs to find so many shots, and Dargan instantly shuts him down through the smoke. There's going to be some good damage and even a little bit of team damage there as well, but it's going to be down to the 2 remaining CT players to hold the site. Mini in towards Pit, Sovereign in towards Short. Both players still alive, and lovely frags coming through from Mini, and the Pit leaves Snow on 12 HP. Mini with a quad kill in the round, absolutely clutches it out for his team. Secures the second for Dabosaurus Rex, and with that AWP bought, Newman's going to struggle to buy here. That was much, much better from De Montfort, arguably favoured by the fact that UEA tried to execute onto that A-bomb site, but Mini, he stood up, and he was one of those players that I said you need to watch out for him, because if you give him that opportunity, if you give him those isolated 1v1s, he's going to rip your head off. And he's looking to get into this map too in style. Polo currently holding deep down middle. That's a ballsy hold. Dargan's had to drop down onto the Mac 10, but otherwise that apart from that, there is a full buy available, as Newman isn't going to allow him to take banana control this time. He has Dargan with the Mac 10 to bait, and then he just needs to tap away at their heads. The nade's going to rain through to top banana. UEA looking like they want to take control of this chunk of the map. And again, Chaz and Nero without utility are going to have to back off at this angle. They haven't got the flashes, the smokes. They don't look like they know the car flash lineup. The nade's going to rain over, won't find any damage this time. Banana control given up relatively freely to the T side, as they look like they want to straight up execute. They've given up all of their A site presence, but there's still 3 CT players there. There's nobody peeking, there's nobody getting that information, so it's going to be down to Chaz and Nero to hold this one down. One towards CT, one behind the fountain. That is a very awkward angle to clear if you are UEA. Let's see if they can manage it here. The utility is going to start to rain through as Nero actually makes the rotate in towards Coffins. The nades should be thrown any second. Dargan's going to be the first one through with that Mac 10. He's just the information player here. The nades go through, the smoke towards CT, and the push starts to come through. Chaz playing behind the fountain, can't find anything. Newman and Dargan combine for the first, and Nero will only find Newman before Dargan with that Mac 10 gets another frag. 4 versus 3, the Molotov there from Polo just to try and deny the bomb plant, but they will get away with it. Snow down to 29 HP, they get the plant where they want it. On top of those coffins where Barbecue used to be. 4 versus 3, there are tags across the board for the CT side to work with, but again, extremely lacking in terms of utility. The push is going to start to come through. Mini from Coffin. Need to see some more antics from him. Has the support of Polo to start to fit his angle. Spam through the smoke, not going to find anything for the time being as the clock slowly ticks away against them. They do have defuse kits as the push starts to come in. Sovereign clears the angle. They're playing this incredibly passively. Lemmy finds a beautiful double kill. He should never get that second now. It's all down to Polo, who can only find one before Lemmy instantly gets his third on 2 HP. Lemmy again showing us just the quality of this UEA roster. 7-2 the lead now for UEA, and on the old economy they would be fully reset here. Dabosaurus Rex, a gift perhaps, as they will have the money to buy pistols and armour into this next round. Deagles, 5-7s, the order of service, a couple of flashbangs, and they've actually picked up a fair amount of utility. I'd expect to see that triple nade going in a little bit of a stack early on. It looks like they've got them out. Mini and Sovereign are going to eat early nades, but the response is immediate. Dargan and Lemmy are going to eat that nade stack. Again, UEA just playing a nice passive early round. They know they don't need to get aggressive. They know that the probability is pistols into this round, so they're just going to slowly take control of middle, make sure there's no aggressions coming in. Newman clears towards short, Lemmy holds towards long, and now they're going to start to execute. In towards Boiler, could find a nice swing shot here. Dargan walks past him, and he will. Newman's now isolated. There's multiple targets. Lemmy's there in support, and Lemmy once more finds a beautiful double kill. Down to Polo on top of the balcony. Lemmy's not going to clear his angle, but Polo doesn't have any idea that Lemmy's actually on the site at the moment. Polo going to find the spam. He'll find the first. The AK-47. Newman instantly rips his head off. 3 versus 2. This is still winnable. There's tags onto Newman and Lemmy. That 5-7 could do absolute work if it makes its way towards the site. And there's an AK recoverable for Nero here. There is some serious opportunity for De Montfort to steal a round away. Nero recovers the AK-47. Chaz with that Deagle is going to need to hit some serious headshots as Mac is going to go for the early peek towards short. The Molotov will buy them more time, and of course without the defuse kit, only 30 seconds on the clock for Dabosaurus Rex to really get anything done. Chaz is going to start to peek in from the apartments. He's going to spot out Mac, and he's going to line up a beautiful headshot for the first, but time is not favouring the CT side here. They need to clear out the site, and they need to do so quickly. Lemmy, playing the top left box angle, will just find an easy frag, and Chaz resigns himself to saving his armour, a smoke and a Deagle. Lemmy, having none of it, tries to go for the hunt, but on such low HP he will be taken down by the bomb. 8-2 the lead for UEA Concrete Strike. As you've got to say, De Montfort, they need to start securing some rounds. They need to start making their way back into this game. The buy will be coming through, and they have finally got enough economy to be picking up the double AWP setup that was so profitable on Mirage. And I'd love to see Polo pop flash himself out for a little peek towards bottom mid here. No AWP available for the T side at the moment. They've opted not to take it. And instead, they're going to go for a straight banana rush, try and isolate Nero on that orb. He hits a lovely tag initially onto Snow, and that'll open up an opportunity. Chaz gets one. Instantly, Lemmy gets the trade, and you can see the rotate starting to come in. There's still 2 CT players on this B bomb site, and this is much better from De Montfort. They've still got that orb viable on Nero. The pop flash, inch perfect, but not quite able to profit as Nero on the site with that AWP will find the first. Down towards new boxes. He's just trying to stay alive. Buy his team time to get in on that rotate, holding the angles for peaks. Nero misses the shot. He's low HP, but Mini through the smoke will find a beautiful headshot onto Snow. Snow finally, post-mortem, will find the Molotov killers. Lemmy gets one more. It's 2 versus 2 now. How have UEA dragged themselves back into this? They know Mini is in towards Coffins, and they're going to have to clear him out if they want to try and get this bomb plant. Mini just playing time. Lemmy's going to go for the plant, but he's going away. Mini's looking for the spam. He won't quite find it. Knows he can't push in yet. He needs to stay alive, give opportunity to his AWPer. 2 versus 2. One smoke on Polo to try and make this work as he'll make his way in towards CT, looking to mix up the peaks as Mini spots out Dargan. Going to use his pop flash. Lemmy takes down Polo. 2 versus 1. Can Mini pull off the impossible here? He waits out the flashbangs, starts to push in from Coffins. He's trying to clear towards Dark, but he has no idea the player's pull. He has heard Lemmy stepping about. He's going to look to clear these one at a time, but the crossfire is too perfect. 9-2 UEA. And that's just showing perhaps the experience this UEA roster have over De Montfort. That crossfire was inch perfect. They absolutely knew exactly how Mini was going to look to push that. They set themselves up so that in any possible circumstance, they're never going to both get killed in that circumstance. There's a 180 for Mini. He's never going to hit that. And they secure the 9th round. Pistol buy once again for the CT side as they pick up that nade stack once more. It looks like it's going to go down Banana early on, but perhaps they need to mix this up because there's no early banana control coming in from the T side. You can understand why they want to do it this round. Previous round they got caught out by that banana aggression as Polo's pushed his way all the way down mid, but oh, that timing. He just sticks his arm out and signals to Newman that he's there. Go kill him. Sovereign in towards Boiler with his team. Isn't going to find anything. Newman absolutely lines up the pre-fire on that position as it's 5 versus 3 now. Chaz makes his way out of Library and instead opts to go in towards short. The smoke will obscure him, but there's a little bit of a gap in the edge of that Newman could fall pride to, and you could see Chaz, what he was trying to do there, get through that smoke early, give himself an opportunity, but Newman just about escapes with his life, sets himself up on a new angle as Chaz swings straight into his crosshair, and the lineups are just too good. Lemmy and Mac contribute a killer piece to finish off the round 10-2. And I think De Montfort probably need a pause sometime in the near future. Try and work out what is going wrong here. Nero hasn't bought yet, and they are going to bring out the double AWP once more. Of course, on maximum loss bonus, they're starting to just get money constantly, so there's no harm in trying it. 10-5, this maybe becomes winnable on the T side if Montfort go absolutely nuts. Polo's going to go for the early jump across. No AWP to challenge him, so he will be able to get freely towards second mid, but it's a straight banana rush once more for the T side. Chaz spraying away, gets a triple kill instantly, and just shuts it down from UEA again. Perhaps guilty of getting a little bit complacent. A quad for Chaz. He's on for the ace, but the flashbang will deny him. Mac, the last man alive, 1 versus 4. We saw him pull off a 1 versus 3 to win the first map. Surely this is too much to ask. Mini through the smokes tagged him up. He pop flashes his way through, looking to isolate the fights, but Mini will shut him down 3-10. And that is better from De Montfort. Again, I think that round almost gifted to them by UEA. Just getting a little bit complacent. You can't straight rush up Banana without a Molotov to clear out Car, and Chaz just capitalises on the mistake of the T side. Gets himself a beautiful little quad kill. Brings his kills up into the double digits. The first man on the De Montfort roster to get there, which is very unfortunate when you're 14 rounds into CS. And it is a very passive early round once more. Newman with that AWP for the second time has decided not to bother peeking Banana. He got his head ripped off in a previous attempt, and Chaz, this is what I wanted to see De Montfort. They've taken control of Banana away. They're taking information away from the T side. This is where it can start to get a little bit hairy. Chaz holds on, and that allows the rotate to come through. Polo should start to make his way into the A1 site, and just as I start to suggest it, he does. And now it's 4 versus 5 if they choose to hit this A-bomb site, and Chaz just needs to stay alive towards B. Just needs to stay alive. He's going to make his way back towards Car. He knows he's got the information that Banana is clear at the moment. He's going to peek from behind the Car, and he just needs to buy time. The nade going to get a nice little tag onto Dargan, but still 5v5 as a minute comes and goes, and it looks like VA Concrete Strike actually not feeling this A hit so much anymore. Polo going to rotate based off the fact they heard, I think it was Dargan, just jump out of the apartment cell. I've heard that footstep, so it's going to be down to Chaz here. Needs to buy time. His AWPer's rotating in through CT. The utility looks like it's going to come out from UEA. Lemmy going to be the first one to peek right into the crosshair. That is all too easy for Chaz. A little bit of an off angle for him. He'll find one. Mac instantly finds the trade, and Polo Not quite timing that flashbang right. Will retreat in towards triple box. Has the support of the secondary ult from CT. There's going to be some smokes here. Dargan jumps across the angle. How has he survived that? Snow again, just missed shots from Polo. They need to hit these. Dargan's going to start to clear him out. And Dargan will find an absolute freebie of a frag. Nero gets the trade, brings it back 3 versus 3. But you can see Newman so aggressive in towards CT, and Sovereign has no idea. Newman with the easiest shot of his life to bring it 3 versus 2. Matt is tagged heavy. Mini looking to flash his AWP in. We should force Newman off the angle. Newman still finds the leg. Nero down to 20 HP, and now it really is just a matter of time not going the way of the CT side. Another beautiful flash from UEA as they look to lock down this B bomb site. The pre-fire will tag down Newman, but it hasn't found the shot. Finally, Nero finds one, Mini finds the second, and now there's time. Max on 10 HP. He finds the first shot, baits out the second player. Surely not Mac, 10 HP, 1 versus 1. Nero, of course, with the AWP in his hands, is trying to clear the angles. Mac has no idea, he's to his left, but again, Nero just misses the easy shots. And it will be an 11th round for UEA, an absolute gift to them. Gift wrapped and everything from De Montfort. How can they let that round slip by them? They will have to force buy into this one. They're going to have to pick up rifles. They have to try and get a fourth, give themselves an opportunity. Maybe if they go 11-4, they win the pistol round. You can see how much money there is available for UEA Concrete Strike. They've bought everything under the sun. Deagles for most of their players as well. Grenades early towards top of mid. They're looking to deny that chunk of the map. Not something we've really seen them do so far. Polo's going to get aggressive now. Banana, which is much, much better from Dabosaurus Rex. The smoke deep, he spots out 2 players there as the spam starts to train through. Chaz finds Newman. Lemmy manages to get the trade, but he's down to 36 HP. The early, see, this is what I'm on about for the CT side. The early banana spam, they've got Lemmy down to 17 HP. And they found an opening frag. Admittedly, they get traded, but it still very definitely favours them. And they just needed to start doing that earlier on in the round. As you can see, UEA Concrete Strike, they can't commit to this banana push now. There's a little bit of gap in the smoke, and Chaz almost unfortunate not to find a frag through it. Sovereign, the next man to be challenged in towards long. He's going to probably spam through the smoke. He's waiting for a pot flash. It is going to come. Mini gets a beautiful first one, and now the flank starts to pay off. A double kill for Sovereign, and it leaves Dargan to try and recover this. Of course, no harm in going for it. 1 versus 4, last round of the half, but too many angles to clear. Mini will just one-tap him in the face. 11-4 as we go into the half-time break, and you've got to say, De Montfort need this pistol round. They absolutely have to take the T-side pistol. They need to hit their shots. They need to go big here. Expect to see a full rush of one of these bomb sites. Polo's picked up the P250, flash and a smoke to complement it. Perhaps going to go towards that B bomb site early on. If they flash top banana, smoke off CT, there's a real opportunity for them to just explode onto the site as Mac picks up the smoke and the defuse for the CT side. The smoke is going to be lined up towards the B bomb site as it is going to be a straight banana rush. That smoke, a beautiful lineup, is going to drop in towards CT as the push starts to come through. 5 versus 2, it's going to be down to Lemmy and Snow to hit their shots. The site is going to be opened up completely freely, and this block is going to look to get close, but Lemmy and Snow with 2 beautiful flags. Chanks gets 1 on the trade, but Lemmy, again, right place at the right time, gets his hands on a second. 4 versus 2, and they've dropped the bomb deep. The bomb has been recovered, and Polo will finally take down a frag. Newman to full. 3 versus 2. The smoke's still in the hands of Mac to isolate one of these angles. Polo needs to get this bomb down at some point, but Mac has just destroyed Chaz. And Polo 1 versus 3. A player towards construction, a player towards CT, and a player towards banana. He fakes the first defuse, first plant even. What am I on about? And he will spot out Dargan going for that peek, but of course Dargan now knows the bomb isn't planted. He's just going to swing, bait for the timing. Lemmy in towards construction is going to be challenged. The spam away. Lemmy will find the shot. Of course he will. A triple kill for him. 12-4 in favour of UEA. An 8-round lead. 4 more rounds is all they need to take map and indeed series victory. And De Montfort so far just really haven't found their footing in Inferno. They've really struggled on the map pick of the East Anglian side. They're going to have a couple of pistols, 3 P250s, and 1 flashbang to try and make their way up. They're going to go second mid. Expect to see either a short-long push or, yeah, they're going to pop flash towards short. That nade is brutal. Polo down to 37 HP instantly as they start to make their play. The Molotov a little bit late from Newman. It's going to leave isolated. He's got the MP9. He'll farm these kills all day long. A triple, a quad for Newman. He even gets the USPS out. At the end, Newman picks up the ace, and his ego is just going to be overflowing now. A flawless ace. Oh, again, it is against an eco. It is against pistols, but what a play from him. 13-4. There's AK-47s for the T side. This is the last roll of the dice. They are going to be struggling to get anything going after this. The AWP picked up onto Newman, clearly feeling it after that ace. M4, 3 Famises for the CT side to try and repel it. It looks like Montford want to take early control of Banana. Oh, Newman's going to go straight through that molly. He has no fear. He hits a beautiful shot initially. The dink is actually onto Snow. 2 players tagged up for the T side, but again, the CTs have found the initial pick from that aggression. They've taken Banana with that AWP and they find the opening shot. The remainder of the T side is still going to head towards this B-bomb site. They have no map control anywhere else on the map, so they're going to struggle to get anything going. 5 versus 4. Lemmy with very limited utility. He has the support of Snow, who does have a Molotov, but there's no pop flashes to enable these peaks as the smokes come through. Lemmy's going to drop the smoke deep. That'll give away his position in towards CT as the spam starts to come through. Lemmy looked like he was waiting for a pop flash, but there is none. The push is going to come through. Lemmy goes straight through the smoke. There's no flash. That won't work. Snow gets the trade instantly, but then Sovereign, and this is much better. Sovereign does find the refrag, looking to get some damage through the smoke. Will instead take a nade to the face in response. 3 versus 3 on this retake. Newman gets tagged down to 11 HP through the smoke, and Mac just instantly says enough is enough, takes down the player on new boxes. 3 versus 2, there is tags to work with him with the reload. Mac saves his teammate life. Mini looked like he was set for a double kill there. Dargan on the reload somehow stays alive. Newman spots out the last player and it's going to be a 3-man peak. Newman on 17 HP rips his head off. 14 to 4, the retake beautifully executed from UEA. Concrete Strike not losing a man. You cannot argue with that retake strategy. 14 to 4. There is a buy available for Dabosaurus Rex. There is AKs and armor, but that is about the sum of it. They are going to have to go so quickly if they want to get anywhere near UEA, who for the first time on the CT side will bring out the double AWP setup. Org onto Lemmy, of course, looking to offer another ranged option on the CT side. Just going to see that meta come out as Newman looks like he wants to go for this mid pick. He's not messing about. There's no AWP, of course. And Snow's going to take the second AWP in towards Banana. Mini pre-firing the angle, but there's no nades, of course, for the T side even. They're really struggling to get any kind of economy going, and that just allows Snow free reign. Chad's going to take an early tag as Mini looks to go for this peak, and how has he hit that shot? Mini just absolutely pre-fires the hell out of Snow, takes the B-bomb site entirely. The rotates are starting to come in now, but in the meanwhile, De Montfort are going to start to execute in towards the apartments. That was a ridiculous shot, Mini. 5 versus 4. The man advantage for De Montfort in the first time in a long time. Newman holding in towards the boiler, but it looks like at the moment the T side not quite sure where they want to go. They might choose to go out boiler finally. Newman's got to try on multiple angles at once, misses the initial shot just about. The Molotov goes down to prevent the long push, and instead the T's are going to head through short. There's plenty of players on site to try and stop this. Mac and Dargan combine. Newman finally there to get third, and this push has just been decimated. Nero's able to get 1 in response, but he's tagged down to 8 HP, and they're going to have to hightail it towards this B-bomb site now. Currently nobody home for the CT side. Lemmy, a little bit premature in his rotate, but you can understand it. They want to give themselves the best retake opportunity, and Lemmy's actually got a Molotov to work with here. He could do so much work. There's no smoke for CT, of course, from the T side, and he'll be hearing all of these footsteps as he starts to sneak his way in towards construction. The Molotov lineup, that's to prevent the coffins plant. It's going to do exactly that. Mini has to get aggressive. He can't find the shot, and that leaves an incredibly low HP Nero to get gunned down by Lemmy, and it is map and series point 15 to 4 in favour of UEA Concrete Strike. You are seeing the dying throes of the De Montfort roster here. They're going to go for the last gasp buy. They've got AKs, a Scout and a Galil to try and work with, but they've not managed to pull this one off with full utility and full firepower. You can't see them doing it on this kind of a force buy. Chow's going to go for the early peek in towards mid, perhaps try and punish Newman's aggression. Mistimes the shot initially though. Dargan loves the smoke. Oh, Newman finds the shot onto Nero, second mid. You can see that confidence in him. He's just instantly gone in towards the apartments, finds a beautiful pick as the nades rain down Banana. And the damage is already done. Sovereign down to 49. Trying to take Banana control for the T side, but they've got nothing to work with. The Molotov's going to force Snow wide on the angle, and they should have heard that. The pop flash completely missed by the CT side, but 5 versus 4, they can get away with it. They retreat towards the B-bomb site. The Snow drops his own pop flash to get himself back onto that angle. Doesn't spot anyone out, but it is going to be a B-bomb site hit from De Montfort. They're all here. They're all trying to make it work. The smoke into CT, but straight through that smoke. Snow will find Polo. The lineup all too easy for the UEA man, and it's 4-5 versus 3. In fact, as Snow gets the second one through the smoke, Newman able to get one more before he's traded by Sovereign. He got so aggressive towards the bottom of mid, and he's still able to find a frag as Sovereign on 46 HP. 49 HP is left, 1 versus 4 to save his team's hopes of taking the NSE Spring Championship CSGO final. He's going to start to peak. Snow the first man to challenge him, and Snow will rip his head off. 16 to 4, and UEA will take the series 2-0. De Montfort just completely unable
Oh, look at Lemmy. He's so happy, bless him. Demumford just completely unable to take any kind of a winning stance, get any kind of play going in towards that B or the A-bomb side. They just never really looked like they were going to crack open UEA, and it will be a quick 2-0 win for the East Anglian roster. Lovely stuff from them, and you've got to argue again, De Montfort, they gifted them the first map, and they got punished for it. If you're going to give away your own map pick and then go as a puggy team onto an execute map, it's not going to work, and it didn't work, and UEA just stormed their way across the De Montfort roster. There were some lovely individual moments from players like Mini, who hit that awesome triple kill from in towards the pit, but it was isolated, and they didn't really manage to string the rounds together to really form any kind of a challenge on the CT side of Inferno. And then after that, they really struggled to get any banana control, and that is just the end of you on Inferno. Now, I do believe we are the last cast for this evening, if I'm correct. I'll wait for the voice in my ear to tell me that one. We are the last cast for this evening, so thank you very much to everybody for watching all of the games today. We will be back tomorrow for 3 more casts from 3 more wonderful casters who got shortlisted for the Caster of the Term competition. We hope you join us then. See you tomorrow.